Patient who told me they keep an alarm. They sleep, get up at 2, go and eat biryani at 3 and come back.
Oh my God.
This is all really behaving very funnily. You're not human beings.
Raw foods are not meant for all, yeah.
Yeah.
அதுமே இருக்கு இல்லையா அந்த
Correct,
salad
correct.
trend, everyone eating salad.
Correct. Everybody wants salad, but what they are first looking at is the dressing. Olive oil போடலாமா, அதில் chilli போடலாமா, அதில் mayonnaise போடலாமா. And mayonnaise is the sin of the modern society. When I see the first page of the newspaper with mayonnaise, I said India's gone.
Intermittent fasting.
I'm doing intermittent fasting. They eat cakes, pizzas, pastries on a daily basis.
Sedentary workers sitting for long hours and work from home irukku. So these are people who complain of gas a lot.
Simplest home remedies, take food from home. The whole issue is today even idli maavu, dosa maavu is not made up. This maavu which we buy, you keep it in the fridge, doesn't get sour at all. Pata, one particular brand had chalk powder.
Chalk powder. Oh God.
If you eat after, 7-8 p.m., it's called like that because it's supposed to be the time when you can't digest, so all the devils come அப்படின்னு அந்த காலத்துல சொன்னாங்க.
The devils are these non-communicable diseases.
Yeah. And my simple slogan is, an amla a day keeps the doctor.
You mentioned that children being overweight or obese and அவங்களோட eating habits.
We had gone to see primary school children. ஸோ நாங்கள் போன உடனே அந்த குழந்தைகள் வந்து டப்பாவை மூடிட்டு.
Oh.
Obviously you're coming to see my dabba. And my dabba has noodles and I know it's not good. So I'm closing. So the children know what is good, what is not good.
The new year 2025, is there any special message from your side?
Health is the focus.
இன்னைக்கு ஆர்ட் ஆஃப் ஈட்டிங் பாட்காஸ்ட்டில் ஒரு ஸ்பெஷல் கெஸ்ட் வந்திருக்காங்க. இவங்க என்னோட மென்டர், சீனியர் in the dietetics field. இவங்களுக்கு வந்து 40 years of experience இருக்குது as a qualified dietitian. And she's someone who's done her PhD in foods and nutrition. And she's also been the past president of the Indian Dietetic Association. Ma'am was always ahead of her times. அவங்க வந்து ஒரு e-digestனு ஒரு சாஃப்ட்வேர் வச்சுருந்தாங்க. And then also a Nutri app. And plus she had a separate research company also. And நிறைய research articles எல்லாமே பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. And we are very, very happy to have her here to discuss quite a lot about the traditional dietetics as well as Ayurvedic dietetics and integrating both. So let's dive into the conversation. Hi ma'am, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது உங்களை இன்றைக்கி இங்கே பாட்காஸ்ட்டில் பார்க்குறதுக்கு. Thanks so much for accepting my invitation.
Very, very happy to be here. Whatever you're doing is always new and fun.
அதெல்லாம் உங்களை பார்த்து தான் கற்றுக்கிட்டது. ஏன்னா ஐ ஸ்டில் ரிமெம்பர் வென் ஐ வாஸ் ஒர்க்கிங் இன் பெங்களூர் அண்ட் ஷீலா கிருஷ்ணசுவாமி மேம் வந்து சொன்னாங்க, நீ சென்னை திரும்பி போகிற, கோ மீட் மை ஃப்ரெண்ட் தாரணி அப்படின்னு சொல்லி என்னை அனுப்புனாங்க. தென் ஐ கேம் அண்ட் மெட் யூ அண்ட் யூவ் ஆல்வேஸ் கிவன் மீ டைம். எப்போல்லாம் எனக்கு டவுட் வந்திருக்கோ, ஏதாச்சும் எனக்கு ரொம்ப குழப்பத்தில் இருந்தேன்னா உங்களை கால் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அண்ட் யூவ் ஆல்வேஸ் மேட் டைம். அப்போ நீங்கள் ஓட்டமாக ஓடிட்டுருப்பீங்க. there'll be so many talks. And you were also the president of the Chennai chapter of the Indian Dietetic Association. And still, வீட்டோட கமிட்மெண்ட்ஸ் இருக்கும், ப்ரொஃபஷனல் கமிட்மெண்ட்ஸ் இருக்கும். மேம் அப்படின்னா சொல்லு, சீக்கிரமாக சொல்லு, நான் சமைச்சிட்ருக்கேன், சீக்கிரம் ஷார்ட்டாக சொல்லு அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவீங்க. அண்ட் தென் பட் யூ வில் ஸ்டில் ஆன்சர் மை கொஸ்டின், யூ வில் பிக் அப் த ஃபோன் கால். அண்ட் ஐ எம் ஸோ தேங்க்ஃபுல் ஃபார் ஆல் த டைம் தட் யூ கேவ் மீ மேம். தேங்க்ஸ் அ டன்.
It's a pleasure.
மேம், நியூட்ரிஷன் வந்து இப்போ இட்ஸ் பிக்ட் அப் ஸோ மச். அதாவது பேண்டமிக் அப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நிறைய பேர் வந்து தே ஹவ் அண்டர்ஸ்டுட் த இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸ் ஆஃப் நியூட்ரிஷன் இல்லையா? ஸோ நியூட்ரிஷன் அண்ட் டயட்டெட்டிக்ஸ் ஒருத்தவங்க படிக்கணும் அப்படின்னா வாட் வுட் யூ சே? லைக் வேர் டு தே ஸ்டார்ட்? ஸ்கூலில் இருக்கிறதுலேருந்தே ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணணுமா? ஸோ வாட் ஆர் த ஸ்டெப்ஸ் டு பிகம் அ குவாலிஃபைட் டயட்டிஷியன்?
See, first school level, 12th, they need biology, physics and chemistry. This is very important. சில ஸ்கூல்ஸில் they are providing nutrition also as a paper, but எல்லாருக்கும் அந்த opportunity கிடைக்காது. But you need a science background. 100% you need that. அதை பண்ணிவிட்டு they must do a BSc nutrition. இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா BSc is 3 years in some places, 4 years in some places. Doesn't matter. Wherever you are, whatever is there, if you're really interested in this subject, you need to do minimum of 3 years as a graduation, if possible 4 years. And it can be foods and nutrition. It can be nutrition and dietetics. It can be like that. The names of the courses can change, but the strength is very similar. because there are norms in UGC of what all should be there in a BSc which says it's nutrition. So it's very important to do that. But after that, what do? You definitely by then, this is the only BSc which has 10 majors. All others have only 2 per semester. Right?
Okay.
So the 12 badal 10, but 10 we have in-depth, we have practicals for many. So this can never be done as an online course. Today எல்லாரும் ஒரு சர்டிஃபிகேட் கோர்ஸ் பண்ணிட்டு நான் நியூட்ரிஷனிஸ்ட்ங்கிறாங்க. அது கிடையவே கிடையாது.
ஆமா, அதாவது 3 months 6 months அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க.
சான்ஸே இல்லை. Because we went into the depth of physiology of Best and Taylor, which you do in MBBS. Similarly, in biochemistry, we have done Leninja and books which are read in MBBS. So we have many subjects of the MBBS course because we need to understand the human body. So adanala 3 years and you have to be very serious. It's not a joke. I remember when I used to go to college, in Women's Christian College, the library was open 24 hours. So we could walk in any time, and I was one of those people who used it to the best.
லாஸ்டா நீங்க தான் அங்க இருந்து கிளம்பமா க்ளோஸ் பண்ணனும்.
Either the first to go in or the last to get out, whichever it is. And it's amazing to read books. But today I find that is not the idea. We can learn from the net. We can learn from other things. Yes, learn, but learn from the right places. This is very, very important. And when you're on graduate level, you may not understand unless you go to the stages of books. Can you read a 5th class book in first class?
Definitely not. Yeah.
So, adhe madri da. So, there are books catered to your knowledge, which you step up as you go. And then once you go to MSc, it's very, very important to read all the journals. And actually, I have also had the opportunity of being a lecturer in MOP Vaishnav College, part-time. And the way I used to take classes, bring the newspaper cutting and whatever you get on nutrition. That's the first half an hour we used to discuss. What is it? And then if you have a case in your family, bring that. So that's how. So practical learning is very important once you come to postgraduate. It's not just theoretical. You have to read, you have to know what's happening in the field, you have to go to the hospitals those days and read journals. Today you have the opportunity of reading journals in the internet. So use time for that. Don't do only social media. Yes, social media is important, but less time. I think more time for depth of knowledge at the postgraduate level. Then of course MPhil pannalam, PhD pannalam. So there are people who have been in this field for 8 years, 10 years படிச்சிருக்காங்க. அவங்கள கம்பேர் பண்ணி நீங்கள் வந்து 3 வருஷம் படித்தா ஓகே, யூ பெட்டர் யுவர் ஸ்கில்ஸ். டூ அ இன்டர்ன்ஷிப். யூ கேன் டூ த RD இன் இந்தியன் டயட்டெட்டிக் அசோசியேஷன். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி பண்ணி யூ கேன் கெட் பெட்டர் ஸ்கில் செட்ஸ். பட் பிஎஸ்சி படிச்சுட்டு நேராக ஐம் கோயிங் டு டூ ப்ராக்டிஸ்னா இட்ஸ் டிஃபிகல்ட். யூ பெட்டர் லேர்ன். Do an internship kind of thing in the area you want to practice. That's very important.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing this. And how did your journey begin? நீங்கள் எப்படி அதுவும் அந்த டைமில் நியூட்ரிஷன் அண்ட் டயட்டெட்டிக்ஸ் படிக்கணும்னு எப்படி உங்களுக்கு தோணுச்சு? யார் உங்களுக்கு இந்த சப்ஜெக்ட் பற்றி சொன்னாங்க?
See, actually I wanted to become a doctor.
Okay.
And
which school did you study in?
I studied in Church Park. And from then, அப்போ 11 வருஷம் தான் ஸ்கூல். அப்புறம் 1 year we had to do pre-university, where I did in Stella. So I took biology, physics, chemistry. And then from Stella, I wanted to become a doctor. But whatever, the marks and things like that didn't work out. Though there were people in the family who said at that time, we can, get you a seat. I said, no way. If I get through merit, I get. Otherwise, no. So I was searching around, what is the closest course to MBBS? And I found this and I was so fascinated. Whereas my grandfather was the person, he was the head of the family, and usually avanga dhaan decide பண்ணுவாங்க என்ன படிக்கணும், யார் படிக்கணும். And I come from a family of engineers. Not only my grandfather, my father, my uncles, my siblings, my cousins, everybody.
Oh my
We
God.
were 7 of us. I'm the only odd one out. 6 are engineers. So it was, at that time, 4 were engineers already. So I was like, hey, I want to do something different. So, there were jokes in the family, you know what, because it's under the home science department. See, nutrition came under the home science
science,
department.
correct.
இவ பாரு சமைக்க கற்றுக்க போகிறா, this is what she's going to do, was the fun and the joke in the family at that time. So anything I learned, I'll come and practice. I'll tell them. At that time, we got a BP meter from abroad. I would take for everybody, even as a student, you know. So I was so interested in that subject.
ஒரு குட்டி டாக்டர் வீட்டில்.
And there were doctors in the family. My Tata's brother was a doctor, a very senior surgeon in this city. So அவர் வந்து கேள்வி கேட்டுகிட்டே இருப்பார், என்ன படிக்கிற, என்ன பண்ணுற, பயோகெமிஸ்ட்ரியில் என்ன, how does that link to physiology? You know, so I had to keep on my toes to prove that, hey, I'm going to do very well in what I do. So that was very important. So அதனால தான், you know, I kept studying, and I think WCC library was fantastic. Everything you needed was there. And 24 hours. So we could walk in anything, we could do anything. So from there on, so I joined nutrition because the subjects were very similar to what I wanted to do. And it was amazing. It was a no look back. I loved my BSc, and I was topping in many papers. And then MSc, you know how it is sometimes.
You went to Mumbai.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Because
சென்னை பொண்ணு எப்படி மும்பையில் போய் மாஸ்டர்ஸ் படிச்சீங்க?
Correct. Because those days, there were only 8 seats for MSc. And unfortunately, a forward community had only 1 seat. So I stood second. I didn't get that seat. So I said, what can I do? So I called my uncle in Bombay and I said, if I come, will you take care of me? He said, why not? Come. So I applied. I got. And they did a 1-hour grilling to say,
interview?
Yeah. Because the marks in Bombay, even today, 60% வாங்கினேன்னா you're very good.
60%? நம்ம ஊர்ல மதிக்கவே மாட்டாங்க.
நம்ம வந்து இங்கே வந்து
95 கேட்பாங்க.
85 90ன்னு அவங்க மார்க் ஷீட்டை பார்த்துட்டு, என்னது இது, என்ன படிச்சிருக்கீங்க நீங்கள், do you really know the subject அப்படின்ட்டு they grilled me in every subject. Almost an hour they grilled me.
How you scored that much marks?
Correct.
Oh God.
Because for them 60 is a big thing. If you get first class, it's amazing. So when I stood first rank with first class at the end of MSc, they said, wow, first class first. This doesn't exist, you know. So that way. So it's very different those days. Now I don't know. Maybe things have changed. So, and my father was so angry that I was leaving home. I was going to a hostel. So he was like, I'm not going to talk to you.
Oh my God. Which year was this?
This was 82.
82ல you called your uncle to ask, நான் வரட்டா பார்த்துப்பீங்களா, right?
Yeah.
என்ன ஒரு தைரியம் உங்களுக்கு.
And the funny thing is, my mother was full support.
Oh,
நீ படிக்கணும், இங்க கிடைக்கல, you better go. She said, you go, you have to go. Because after WCC, we want the best college, right? So at that time, we didn't know whether, you know, other colleges will give us, not give us. So my uncle said, come on, I've already applied, come. So I went off.
Nirmala Niketan.
It was amazing. Even my professors used to say, you did the best thing, because in graduation in Chennai, you have heavy grounding. It's the best.
Solid foundation.
Solid. Ella subjectukum, we are within the campus of WCC, but we learned fantastic things. You go to Bombay, you don't know the city. I know the language little because I did Hindi. And they will say, okay, we'll meet you at the electron microscope. This is the address. Meet you there. Day 1, we don't know the city. We don't know how to go. But they say, you have to fend for yourself. Please come there.
Go find out, Leah.
So that is the way. We were outside. We were not in college half the time. 50% was inside theory classes. 50% was outside. So Mrs. Malti Mohan and Mrs. Muthaya and all my professors, when I came back the first semester, they said, what do you do? How do you learn? I said, ma'am, it's very different. It's not in the campus at all. We are always, like they'll give us a case study and they'll say, go do it. Take a peptic ulcer patient. I said, whom do I know here? They said, no, go find out. So there was Bombay Hospital next door to my hostel. I would go stand there, ask the doctor, I need a case study. Then they'll say, where are you from? They say, Nirmala Niketan. They said, okay, come. So they gave us a case. We had to say, follow the case till 3 months. and then go back every week and tell them how the patient is going, how they are doing.
மொபைல் ஃபோன் இல்ல,
ஒண்ணும்
இன்டர்நெட் இதோ இல்ல,
ஒண்ணும்
கம்ப்யூட்டர்ஸ் எதுவும் கிடையாது.
ஒண்ணும் கிடையாது. Phone. But how much we learned. Unbelievable. அந்த மருந்து பேர்லேருந்து அப்போ தான் கற்றுக்க ஆரம்பித்தோம். என்ன கொடுக்குறாங்க, என்ன பண்ணுறாங்க. It was fantastic. It was throwing us in the field.
My goodness. And I think you developed courage, independence, Leah, and then good communication skills, because ஒரு stranger கிட்ட போய் எனக்கு கேஸ் ஸ்டடி வேணும் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்லி, ரைட்? அதெல்லாம் ஒரு பயத்தோட ஒரு யங் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் would have gone, ரைட்? ஒரு ஹாஸ்பிட்டலில் போய் பேசுறது, அதுவும் பேசுகிற ஹிந்தி ஒழுங்கா இல்லையா, ஒரு புது சிட்டி. ஓ மை காட்.
நம்மளை பார்த்தாலே I was called Sadiwali in hostel. I was the only girl wearing a sari.
Sorry. Oh.
Everybody else was in salwar kameez at that time. And my father said, no, you can't change. Wherever you are, you have to be as you are.
Okay.
So I was the only one wearing a sari in hostel. I tochu pota iron panni. I was called Sadiwali.
Oh.
So the people would never believe a student is standing in a sari and in front and asking these questions.
My goodness.
But the beautiful thing is the college, because they had developed that thing with all the top hospitals.
Who was your HOD, ma'am?
HOD was Mrs. N. Bandari. She was awesome. She was just fantastic. So it's great the way things went. In fact, I would say that my MSc thesis was awareness of doctors on dietary management of diabetes. I took up that topic. So 200 doctors I interviewed in Bombay.
Okay.
So I would go, I'll sit there, a student always takes time. They will make me sit there. So what I'll do is look all at their certificates, note down the year of pass. And then that I collaborated with what they had given as knowledge. And at that time, 84, 83, 84, it was what they studied is what they practiced. If they passed out in, say, 50s or 60s or 70s, whatever the diabetes diet was at that time, they were prescribing to the patients. Today, it's very different. Everybody is up to it. All doctors are learning more and more, and they are up to it. And we have Dr. Mohan, who's really the icon to look at. Right?
So pride of the nation.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there it was. So I had only 10 diabetologists who knew about diet. But the rest of the, general practitioners at that time had no idea. So it was just one other thing I took down. But the year of passing completely coordinated with what
they were prescribing. Okay. My goodness, this is mind-blowing to know that அந்த காலத்துல you actually went around to see how much of nutrition knowledge they had. And 100 doctors interview பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. 200. Oh my. அதுவும் பாம்பேல. கொஞ்சம் நஞ்சம் ஹிந்தி வச்சுட்டு இல்லையா? My goodness.
And when I came here, I went to Mohan's father's clinic, which is M. Vishwanathan in Royapuram. He opened his library and he gave Xerox copies of all his papers. And that is when he had done a high complex carbohydrate diet for diabetes. If you see, it was 82, 84, his first release. And I would go back and talk in Bombay about that. You don't have to change the diet, because vegetarian is good enough, these kind of things. He taught me. In fact, it was Dr. Mohan, he might not remember, who was there as a young doctor, and his father told him, please Xerox all this and give it to this girl. And immediately I got all of that and I went back to Bombay and I showed Dr. Bandari. She said, wow, is this it? And it's the latest research and you have all the papers in front of you.
Okay.
We used to write to US doctors, asking about them, taking from the journal. They'll reply by envelopes. Postcards, handwritten letters used to come because no email, right?
But it will take its own time. But then a handwritten note is so special.
So all that was references in my thesis.
Oh, what a journey it has been. And I'm so fortunate that I studied in WCC too. நீங்க சொன்ன professors எல்லாருக்கூடயும் நான் படிச்சிருக்கேன். And of course, I think that was such a game changer to study in WCC. I studied my master's there. Undergraduate was in Qaeda Millet. But coming to WCC and doing those seminars and to take class, it prepares you for public speaking. Right?
Absolutely.
And also for giving talks at any forum. And I think that confidence came because I studied in WCC and I was the last one to go out of the library most of the days. So I can relate parts of what you shared. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this, ma'am. And other thing is also, we were talking about research. So ஒரு காமன் மேன் வந்து ஒரு ரிசர்ச் பேப்பர் பார்த்தா சுத்தமாக அவங்களுக்கு என்னன்னே புரியாது. ஸோ வாட் ஆர் த ஃபியூ திங்ஸ் தட் தே கேன் லுக் ஃபார், அதாவது எந்த டைப் ஆஃப் ஸ்டடியாக இருந்தால் பெட்டர், அண்ட் தென் வாட் ஆர் த திங்ஸ் டு லுக் ஃபார். ஏன்னா சிலது வந்து சே ஃபார் இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் திஸ் பர்டிகுலர் ப்ராடக்ட் இஸ் வெரி வெரி ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல் டு ரெடியூஸ் இன்ஃப்ளமேஷன் சொல்லலாம், பட் தட் அசோசியேஷன் வுட் ஹவ் ஃபண்டட் இட். ஸோ வாட் ஆர் த திங்ஸ் தட் அ காமன் பர்சன், நாட் நெசர்லி அ சயின்ஸ் கிராஜுவேட், ஷுட் கீப் இன் மைண்ட் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் த எக்ஸ்ட்ராக்ட் ஆர் த ரிசர்ச் ஸ்டடி? Are there few points that they can look?
See, it should be a good journal first. Other, maybe we should start educating the public. Peer-reviewed journal, or at least a good journal, because otherwise anybody can do research, right? Second is, on the minimum 30 patients. And that is a very less number actually. When you're looking at product and things like that, minimum is 30, but it should be done in many more people. Because today we are talking about precision nutrition.
Customized, precision, yes.
So
yes.
it's 30 is a very small number. So at least 30, but better more numbers. Only then it will help. And the sample size, that will be too much for them. That is, it should be similar.
ஒரு ஆர்சிடி அந்த மாதிரி இருந்தால் பெட்டரா மேம்?
Correct.
யா,
அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணலாம். But will they understand that?
ஆமாம், randomized control design-னா I don't know how many will understand. Yeah. So minimum 30 and then it should be from a very good index journal. ஓகே. அண்ட் சில ஸ்டடீஸ் வந்து வெஸ்டர்ன் கண்ட்ரீஸில் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க, ஆனால் ஸ்டடீஸ் வந்து இங்கே இந்தியாவில் பண்ணியிருக்க மாட்டாங்க. ஸோ என்ன மாதிரியான வேரியேஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் வரதுக்கான சான்சஸ் இருக்குது? பிகாஸ் கசின்ஸ் வந்து அப்ராடில் இருக்காங்க, இந்த ப்ராடக்ட் ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்குது, இட் ஹெல்ப் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு கிஃப்டாக கொண்டு வந்து கூட ஒரு சப்ளிமெண்ட்டை கொடுக்கலாம். வாட் டு யூ ஹாவ் டு சே அபவுட் இட்?
See, எல்லாமே நல்லதுன்னு கிடையாது. See, the concept of, I feel that the British have never left us.
You're right, you're
47 we got independence. But still, நம்ம வந்து ஒரு வெஸ்டர்னருக்கு கொடுக்குற மரியாதை நம்ம ஊரில் இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு கொடுக்கல இன்னும். ஐ ஃபீல் தட் தட்ஸ் வெரி வெரி சேட், பட் இட்ஸ் ஐ ஃபீல் லைக் தட். ஸோ நம்ம ஊரில் நீங்கள் வெரைட்டி ஆஃப் வெஜிடபிள்ஸ் எடுத்திங்கன்னா இட்ஸ் 90+ types, in which brinjal is one. But you know our nutritive value book has 36 values for brinjal, but the actual scenario is 2,000+ varieties of brinjal. So do you think India doesn't have biodiversity?
It does.
I'm not against broccoli, or I'm not against dragon fruit or kiwi or any of those, or passion fruit. All I'm trying to say is, நம்ம ஊரில் இருக்கிறதே ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்கு. Why should we ignore them? So the West feels that everything is good, so they do research. They have research because the government, the university, everything provides funding. நம்மளுக்கு அது இல்லை. So, I'm not saying that everything that comes from there is good or bad. We need to look at it at the right perspective. Like for example, whey protein itself, take it rightly. If you're taking 20 grams, if you take a scoop of 28 grams, it becomes double and more. You have to step it up slowly. You can't build Rome in a day.
Correct.
So, அதனால மெதுவாக தான் பண்ணணும். அவங்க உடனே வந்து எல்டர் பீப்புளுக்கு வாங்கிட்டு வந்து அதை நீங்கள் 6 ஸ்கூப் எடுத்துக்கோங்க, they will crash.
ஆமாம். அண்ட் their gut cannot handle it இல்லையா? ரொம்ப டைஜஸ்டிவ் இஷ்யூஸ் வரும், கிராம்பிங் இருக்கும்,
கரெக்ட்,
லாட் ஆஃப் ஃப்ளாச்சுலன்ஸ் அண்ட் ஆல் தட் will come. You're right. ஸோ அங்கே ஒரு ஸ்டடி பண்ணாலும் இங்கே வந்து இட் மைட் நாட் பி ரெலவெண்ட் இந்த கண்டிஷன்ஸ்க்கு, ரைட்?
அண்ட் அந்த பர்சனுக்கு
exactly. So one thing that I also wanted to ask you was, ungaloda PhD topic was about type 2 diabetes and the importance of diet counseling. Yeah, ma'am. Can you just give a gist of what you did?
See, it was an effect of diet counseling, exercise and de-stress on patients. Why diet counseling? See, one of the first freelancers were Sheila and me in this country, at least in the South. I don't know about the North, right?
Yes.
So our journey of diet counseling, which we did, which we took time with patients, because I was working in multi-specialty hospital. I was working there. And they would line up 20, 30 patients and they say finish in 1.5 hours.
எப்படி முடியும்? So 5 minutes, 10 minutes with each patient.
And we'll have printed sheets. We'll give. I never felt happy about it at all. The reason I came out was this. Because I felt we need to give time. So diet counseling na enna? Is it working? Is it better than, just handing a sheet which has 100 things you tick off and you say 2, 3, 2, 1 and all, and are patients understanding it? That is why I chose the topic. And in that, what I did was, actually I had already had my software, which was...
you were one of the pioneers.
It was up and about all over. And initially I wanted to do in that itself, but because I'm not a technology expert, it was not really accepted as a PhD. So in diet counseling, I analyzed every diet of the patient. And even for an idli, I will take the recipe and I'll put the values. Somebody can do 4:1. Somebody can do 4 rices to 1 urad dal. Somebody can do 3:2, 3 of rice to... So that makes a difference to the protein, right?
Correct.
So I went to that level.
Each household, the recipe varies.
Recipes, take that, put it, and then they would go out and eat. I will try to get into that also to find out what those foods look like. Those days when there were no mobile phones, we would interact so much with the patient every 15 days to see what they ate, what they didn't eat, follow that, give them, inputs on what they should do, what they shouldn't do from the menu when they eat outside, what to choose, what not to choose, to that level. So diet counseling made a huge impact. And that is why I chose that topic.
And PhD, you did this at what, 50 or 51 years of age? Yeah?
After my second girl was born and in school, that's when.
It's amazing. Something that I deeply admire about you is you were way ahead of your times. And digest software kondu vandadu. Adukapra you took it across the country. And you stayed for 15-20 days in Mumbai University and a couple of other college campuses in order to train them. And you took it across the country to train dietitians.
Correct.
On how to use the software. And next thing is app, Nutri app onnu kondu vandinga. Adukapra of course DV Life Sciences, and which was devoted to research. So you've done so much, and then you've also been the president of the Indian Dietetic Association. So these are things that, a lot of young dietitians like me, we were all looking up to you because நீங்க ஆல்வேஸ் ஒரு 10 வருஷம் அஹெடாக தான் யோசிப்பீங்க. And you would also travel to US and bring back so many concepts and you will come and share. ஏன்னா அந்த கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் போனேன், இதுதான் புதுசாக பேசுகிறாங்க அப்படிங்கிற விஷயம் நீங்கள் எல்லாருக்கும் சொல்லிடுவீங்க ஐடியா மீட்டிங்கில் பார்க்கும்போது. தேங்க்யூ மேம், தேங்க்யூ ஃபார் டூயிங் ஆல் தட். வெரி வெரி கைண்ட் ஆஃப் யூ. நெக்ஸ்ட் இஸ் ஆல்சோ வாட் ஐ வாண்டட் நோ இஸ், நீங்கள் இப்போ பண்ணுறது இஸ் ஆயுர்வேதிக் டயட்டெட்டிக்ஸ். ஸோ வென் டிட் த ட்ரான்சிஷன் ஹேப்பன் and who influenced you to think in this direction?
See, actually, as I told you, as you were saying, I was in Mumbai 15 days with Dr. Udupi, who was at that time the HOD of the SNDT University of the nutrition department. She was the HOD. So she was the one who actually, our Usha Antony ma'am was working there. So together they said, hey, this girl has done a software. She seems to be a dietitian who's done it. Because at that time there was a software done by a CFTRI, food scientist. But I was looking at it as a dietetic clinic. So that's how I made it. So she said, dietetic software. So both of them together called me to give a demo. And then that training came through. So, of course, at lunch we'll all chit-chat, and then I would ask Dr. Udupi, because she has done amazing research. She was at that time in every place, everywhere. As, any government organization, anything, she was part of it. So I was like, wow, looking at her, that her name is everywhere, right? So we need to learn, and she was very simple, very humble, most easily reachable person. So we would chat at lunch and all, and on one day she said, I've done a research on ghee. I said, what is it, ma'am? Research in ghee?
And they were shunning ghee at that time. தேங்காய் எண்ணெயும் ghee எல்லாம் தொடவே கூடாதுன்னு சொல்ற டைம்ல madam had done a research.
So I said, what is it different, ma'am, from what we know of ghee? She said, no, I did an Ayurveda research. And we did because in Ayurveda, ghee says, It is buddhi and whatever, smriti. That is memory and intelligence will improve if you have ghee. So we tested it on our girls and he found it's excellent. So I said, ma'am, then why? We say for cholesterol it's bad, this, that. She said, here's the crux. If you get milk, you skim out the cream, you sour it, and then you make butter, the traditional way, and then you make ghee, that makes a huge difference than the way that the cooperatives and other people where the normal butter is got. And she went into the depth. And she was talking about Dr. Narendra Pense from Pune. With whom she was working. Then it happened that I finished all this and came, and Sharifa from SIT College, who is the professor there, she had called Dr. Narendra Pense. I could not resist. I cancelled all my patients, ran to hear his talk, and I spoke to him.
Okay.
And that just triggered something in me. And I said, this is something we need to work in. So he's again a very humble, very simple. He said, all my research, I'll give it to you in a pen drive. You look at it. I started learning. And at that time, I see the world is talking about this.
Ayurveda, in a big way.
Yeah, integration of two different sciences, which is traditional science and modern science. And we are having Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani and everything, and we are not doing anything about it.
Correct.
So I said, sir, there's a gold mine out there. Why are you all not doing it? So then I said, at that time, my daughter started studying Ayurveda. It just happened. So I said, you have to now intern. So even in first year, I put an internship under Dr. Pense so that she would learn these kind of things. And then together we started, but she was a student. So I would refer to Dr. Pense, go back to her, and then Dr. Pense introduced me to 35 Ayurvedic doctors in Pune who are so tech savvy. I'm talking about 20 years ago.
My goodness. Okay.
They had the Nadi Pariksha on a cuff in a, like your BP thing. They could do Nadi Pariksha. They could, they had a software to say, according to the body type of the person, which are the foods. One, they know it in their mind, but to teach students, they had put it out. So I said, here's a gold mine. Let's start with ours and combine that. So we started working on that. So it was just mind-blowing. The journey shifted from tech to tech with integration.
So traditional science and Ayurvedic dietetics. And plus, of course, your daughter is now a Ayurvedic physician, and so you both collaborate and work, Leah.
It's very important at this juncture to tell you. See, she is Ayurveda, I am modern nutrition. So even before she studied, I was collaborating with an Ayurvedic physician who is Dr. Pense or others whom he had introduced. So you need to have two sciences, both people in depth. It's not doing a certificate course in integrated dietetics and calling yourself an integrated dietitian.
Yes.
That's
happening a lot these days.
Correct. You cannot do everything like that because there, like you say, nutrition, nobody can do a certificate course. It's true of any science. Whether Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, homeopathy, they have done 5.5 years minimum. And if they've done MD, 8.5 years. Some of them have done PhD also, which means 12.5 years they worked in that. How can you equate yourself to that? Even today, if you tell me, ma'am, can you talk about body type? I'll say, sorry, Shiny, I don't know. Because she is the one who does it, or an Ayurvedic expert is the one who does that.
So, and plus the experience. Correct. The value is there.
You have to work together. That is very, very important.
So you bring both the strength to the table and then help the client.
Correct.
Okay. So sometime back, you had mentioned how during pandemic, you had actually done a Insta live or a Facebook live and yarko kidney health issues irundhathu and close to 25 clientsக்கு வந்து நீங்க ஹெல்ப் பண்ணிருந்தீங்க அப்படினு. அதாவது dialysis போகாம you had prevented அப்படினு சொன்னீங்க. So could you just share a little bit because I was very curious to know how you did that and நீங்களும் உங்க டாட்டரும் டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணி you had guided them, is it?
Correct.
Okay, so என்ன மாதிரியான cases did they come with high creatinine levels?
Yeah, very high creatinine levels where they were advised to go to dialysis, and this person did not want to go, which means it's danger. You neither want to do dialysis, but your creatinine is not going down. So we said, okay, if you're ready, we will do integration with you, because you are in a very delicate situation and you have to work very hard with us. So the way we work, my daughter and I, Madhu and I, Dr. Madhumita and I, basically, she gives a Prakriti questionnaire. If it's online. If it's offline, through symptoms, because seeing is always better than what the patient is saying. But if you're doing online, there's very little you can see. So you can see, but first we do a questionnaire, and then she assesses what are the doshas and all that. I create a diet talking to them according to modern dietetics. Then she vets it. And she says, see, these foods cannot happen this way. We have to change it. So she will change it. For example, if they need to take something like, for example, they should have to have pomegranate. Then she'll say, take it, juice it, make it into a rasam and take it if you want to have it. So things like that. If you really want to have almonds, you really like it. But for your Prakriti, you need to change it. You need to soak it and do something like that. Or she'll say, add an amla to something. So the total digestion.
Vishangal, those little things, the way it has to be eaten, right?
Yeah.
Raw foods are not meant for all, yeah?
Yeah.
அதுமே இருக்கு இல்லையா அந்த salad trend, everyone eating salads.
Correct. Raw food, millets, types of millets, so many changes. Even how to start your meal, she will say, if you have gastric issues. So many things. We work on all of this. Then she'll say, this is how I'm going to change the diet. So we come to a consensus and we give the diet. So that's the diet part. But in renal, there's an excellent ginger treatment which is there in Ayurveda. Inji.
Oh, okay. What do they do, ma'am?
See, basically they take a liter of water. They add about 100 grams of ginger. And you can either crush it or grate it and put, and you boil it very well.
This is the fresh ginger. It's not sugar.
Not sukkar, not dry ginger. You boil it very well, at least for 10 minutes, rolling boiling. Okay? Then after that, you off it, you strain it, and keep it to a temperature the patient can manage. Put a towel and ferment it behind here. This is where our kidneys are, just behind our back. There you do fermentation. This you do for 10 to 15 minutes minimum. So if the same water becomes cold, you can reheat it to the temperature you need and continue the fermentation. This worked wonders.
ஒத்தடம் கொடுக்கிறதுன்னு சொல்றது, right? Okay.
She did every day for a month, and her creatinine started dropping. And to the level her doctor said, no need dialysis. So we do not say don't go to allopathy.
Doctor said no need.
Yeah. He said values are better. You can now. So she's maintaining now. It's more than what? 4+ years?
4 years? 4.5 years actually. Yeah. Okay. So how many clients have you worked with?
25 easily. I don't know the exact number, but easily 25. There are people abroad also doing it. Recently I lost a very good patient of mine, but after many years, he's been on this treatment. But you know how age also
catches up. Yeah.
And this thing also. But otherwise, these were the 2 star patients who were there for a long time and maintained without actually. But I'm not trying to say people should not go into dialysis here. If you need to, you need.
You need to do that.
But if you don't, you should start early. When your creatinine jumps to 2 itself, if you start, it can come back to normal. If it has already gone to 3 or 4, you can still bring it down. Don't wait till it goes to that level. This is very important, because the earlier you start, the better. She was lucky, it worked for her. She's very diligent. Even today, she takes her creatinine so often, like every 15 days sometimes, every month for sure. And if it goes up, she'll start every day. Otherwise, she'll do thrice a week. And she'll keep reporting it back. So it's like,
I think she was totally committed to this entire treatment. Correct. And also, I think, as you always would say, the belief that this treatment is going to help, right? How about the psychology part of healing process? And very important, right? I would love to hear from you about it, ma'am. Yes.
See, correctly, first, if a client is coming to Shiny, they've done their spade work. or they're coming to me. They've done their spade work. They've just found today with social media, it's very easy.
ஆமா, they inquire, எல்லாத்தையும் கேட்டு விசாரிச்சுட்டு they'll come.
அந்த மாதிரி வருவாங்க. இன்னொன்று என்ன, எங்கள் அம்மாவுக்கு பண்ணீங்க, என் குழந்தைக்கு பண்ணீங்க, எங்கள் அக்காவுக்கு பண்ணீங்க. That has better. Because they've seen the results with
in their
somebody.
family itself.
Yeah. Here review பார்த்து வரதும் வராங்க. But this is older version. Because we didn't have social media and all when I started my practice 91. Where I started as a freelance dietitian. So no social media, no mobile phone, nothing. Right? So those days, that was the thing which still holds true. I won't say no. Because there are families who come to us regularly. Right? They're second generation now for their kids, for their pregnancy, you know, everything.
Yes.
So it's beautiful.
So gratifying, Leah.
And before, when we studied child psychology, let me be very frank, when I did in WCC, I'm not a person for learning any art kind of subject or, you know, anything of science is not my cup of tea.
Okay. உங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப அந்த scientific approach தான் உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்ச விஷயம்.
ரொம்ப பிடிச்ச subject. So physiology, biochemistry, microbiology, food science எல்லாம் was very interesting for me. But child psychology, you know, it was not my cup of tea at all. ஏதோ படிக்கணும் படிச்சு முடிச்சிட்டேன். But when you become a dietitian,
psychology plays a big
that's
role.
the first thing. Because if somebody knows they are a diabetic, first you have to put them in place and calm them down. Tell them, hey, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. A bomb hasn't fallen on you. Relax. So psychology plays such a big role. And when they jump up saying, hey, my A1C has gone up. Say, relax. By stressing, it's going to go up more. So relax. So psychology plays a fantastic role. And today I have psychologists on board. Because depression, anxiety, ADHD in children, depression, anxiety in adults, adolescents is huge. We can't handle two sciences. Again, I'm telling you.
It's always better to have the expert on board, Leah.
Physiotherapist, psychologist, and yourself. That's how it works.
And the belief, as you said, is very, very important. Yeah. They should trust the process. நீங்க சொன்ன அந்த steps எல்லாமே வந்து strictly follow பண்ணணும்.
To the letter, wonders come.
And one more thing that I've always admired in you is that you used to take care of your mother-in-law, you know, and of course your mother. எல்லாருமே 90+ வரைக்கும் இருந்துட்டு போனவங்க. And geriatric nutrition என்கிட்ட யாராவது வந்தால் I'll straight away forward and your number to them. And I'll say, எனக்கு அவ்வளோ எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் கிடையாது, ப்ளீஸ் ஸ்பீக் டு மை சீனியர் டாக்டர் தாரணி பாருங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிடுவேன். அண்ட் அதே மாதிரி கிட்னி ரிலேட்டட் இஷ்யூஸ் ஆகட்டும், ஆங்காலஜி ஆர்எல்ஸ் கேஸ்ட்ரிக் இஷ்யூஸ் லைக் இரிட்டபிள் பவல் சிண்ட்ரோம் எது மாதிரி வந்தாலும் இமீடியட்லி ஐ ஆல்வேஸ் சே, ப்ளீஸ் எங்கள் டீம்கிட்டே நான் சொல்லி வச்சுருக்கேன், 60+ யார் வந்தாலும் மேடமோட நம்பர் கொடுத்துருங்க.
தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச்.
And they're all very happy talking to you because you simplify science in such a beautiful way. அது ஒரு குழந்தை கூட புரிகிற அளவுக்கு அதை நீங்கள் சிம்பிளிஃபை பண்ணி சொல்கிறீங்க. அண்ட் ப்ளஸ் நீங்களும் இப்போது உங்கள் டாட்டர் மதுவும் சேர்ந்து இன்டெகிரேட் பண்ணி இன்னும் பல விஷயங்கள் யூ ஆர் டூயிங் இல்லையா மேம்? ஸோ வாட் ஐ வாண்ட் டு நோ இஸ் ஜீரியாட்ரிக்ஸ் வீட்டில் பெரியவங்கெல்லாம் இருக்கும்போது, ஸோ மை மதர் அண்ட் மை மதர்-இன்-லா ஆர் பிக் ஃபேன்ஸ். வீட்டில் சொல்லுவாங்க, நான் தாரணி மேமோட வீடியோ பார்த்தேன், இங்கே பாருடி அப்படின்னு எங்கள் மாமியார் வந்து காமிப்பாங்க. தென் அம்மா ஆல்சோ வில் ஃபார்வர்ட் இட் டு மீ, யூனோ. அண்ட் கான்ஃபரன்ஸ்க்கு போகிறது அந்த கூட மேடம் வராங்களா, தாரணி மேம் வராங்கன்னா சரி நீ போயிட்டு வா அப்படிம்பாங்க. திஸ் இஸ் ஆல் பிஃபோர் மேரேஜ் அண்ட் வி ஹவ் ட்ராவல் டுகெதர் ஆன் ஸோ மெனி யூனோ ஃபார் கான்ஃபரன்சஸ் அண்ட் ஐ ஹவ் என்ஜாய்ட் த கான்வர்சேஷன்ஸ். ஃப்ளைட்டில் ஏறி இறங்குற வரைக்கும் பேசிட்டே ஐ ஜஸ்ட் லவ் லிஸ்னிங் டு யூ. ஸோ ஜீரியாட்ரிக்ஸ் பெரியவங்க வீட்டில் இருந்தால் என்ன சில விஷயங்கள் நம்ம ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணணும்? ஒன் இஸ் தே டோன்ட் கெட் இனஃப் ப்ரோட்டீன், ஆனால் அதை ஹேண்டில் பண்ணக்கூடிய டைஜஸ்டிவ் சிஸ்டம் இல்லை அவங்களுக்கு. டேஸ்ட் நிறைய மாறுது. நாங்கள் வீட்லேயே வந்து எல்லோரும் என்ஜாய் பண்ணி சாப்பிட்டாலும் அம்மா வில் பி லைக், இது என்னது நல்லாவே இல்லையே, அதுக்கு நானே ஏதோ பண்ணிக்கிறேன் அப்படிம்பாங்க. யூ ஹவ் கான் டு த பெஸ்ட் ஹோட்டல் ஆர் யாராவது நல்லா சமைச்சு த என்டையர் ஃபேமிலி வில் பீட்டிங். ஸோ டேஸ்ட் பட்ஸ் எல்லாம் சேஞ்ச் ஆகுது. ஸோ குட் யூ த்ரோ சம் லைட் ஆன் geriatric nutrition?
Very, very simple is first find out what they like. And then try to do it the way they did it. Because there's a big difference. The way you make idli, the way I make idli is different, right? Second is involve them in everything. My mother-in-law lived 96.
Wow, that's a good age.
It was last 1.5 years only, she couldn't do much. But at 91, she forgot to off the gas. So I told her, you cannot go near the gas unless I'm there. So even at 95, she made Mysore Pak for her son on his birthday.
அப்பா.
So they love to cook. I mean, depends. Each one has a different passion. Some hate to cook. But you know, in my mother-in-law's case, her passion was to cook. So I will tell her, I will take her to the kitchen and I'll say, how will you do this better? How will you make it better? Things like that. So she's involved in that.
ஸோ அந்த ப்ராசஸ்லயே ஷீ ஷுட் பி
Yeah.
ஓகே
In
பெரியவங்கள இன்வால்வ்
deciding,
பண்ணணும்.
yeah,
Okay,
how to do, when to do, things like that. After a point, some people mind is not able to do these things, right? They're not able to interact. In that case, you go back and remember what are the foods they loved and try to serve that in a plate. They may be diabetic, but taking that quarter teaspoon of a Mysore pak powder is not a problem compared to the happiness it gives.
ஓகே ஸோ த சைக்காலஜி அகேன்
It needs to be that
ரொம்ப
every
தியரி பேசக்கூடாது அங்க.
they go back to being a child. So nutrition is one part. We need to do all that. For example, let me tell my mother-in-law's case. After 95, she lived another 1.5 years after she turned 95. But the last 6 months, she didn't want to eat. Whatever her reasons were, she said, enough is enough. Because she started seeing younger people dying in front of her, people she's been with, people she's loved, people she's... So, she, in her own way, she said, this is the way I am going to do. I said, I cannot not feed you.
சாப்பாடு எப்படி நீங்க ஆமா சாப்பிடாம இருக்க அலோ பண்ணுவீங்க
So,
நீங்க?
morning she'll have a coffee, there will be protein powder in that.
Oh,
11 o'clock she'll have buttermilk. I'll have a little bit of either a baby food which has, you know, grains in it, plus protein powder in that. She said, this buttermilk is thick, but it's filling me. I said, very good, take it. So these kind of things.
quite you just
Yeah.
sneaked in. Okay, okay.
So we need to follow nutrition with a different perspective. That's all. You cannot sit there and say, eat, eat, eat. They're not going to eat. You can take a horse to water. The horse won't drink it. If it doesn't want to drink it, you cannot make it drink.
You're right, ma'am. Yes.
So we need to work on various aspects. Whereas my mother was straight opposite. She always wanted to enjoy. She lived 89 plus. She would have turned 90 in another month. So a month and a half maybe. Yeah. So, but she was very different. She wanted to eat out. She wanted to be everywhere. She wanted to enjoy life. Though she was at home, we would bring food from outside and she would enjoy.
So she ate. She
Yeah.
enjoyed eating.
She
all
enjoyed eating, and she had, of course, very minimal problems. Ischemic heart, but she's lived with it forever. She went to Mount Kailash, so you can't say that worried her. But yeah, but she would eat. So it's different. Each person is different.
that. So the psyche is important. Involve them in the process, and then make it as simple as possible and mask it.
Yeah.
You know, just like how we would feed a child, mask it. You're not
Yeah.
necessarily, you know, அவங்க favorite foodsல quite ஏதாவது கொஞ்சம் இது பண்ணும். Okay,
One
thank
last
you.
thing I need to tell. You see, all old people in summer, starting April to June, if you take a blood test, their creatinine will be high. Their urea will be high.
Why, ma'am?
Their urine also will smell like that. The reason is they cannot feel thirst. They don't
yes.
drink enough water.
Water, correct. ஆமா அது
So இதை பார்த்து எல்லாரும் பயப்படுறாங்க இந்த காலத்தில். Please just measure water and keep it in front of them and make sure they drink it. It's very simple.
ஆமா மறந்துடுறாங்க நிறைய பேர் that happens. You're right.
So if
Thanks
you do
for
that,
sharing this.
it will sort
It
that
will
problem.
sort it out. Okay, okay. Done. And அப்போ இதெல்லாம் ஷேர் பண்ணீங்க. அப்போ ஒரு நல்ல டயட்டிஷியன் ஆகணும்னா besides the qualifications, what are the other characteristics? ஒரு நல்ல லிசனராக இருக்கணும். அந்த மாதிரி are there few things that you might want to share now? Because it will be very useful. இந்த வீடியோ பார்க்குறவங்களுக்கு if you can share. It could be a young dietitian who's watching it. And or it might be a doctor who's planning to hire a dietitian and wants to look at few traits. So what are those, ma'am?
See, first is learning. You have to learn. Like I would love to do an AI course. I'm looking at one.
Okay.
So they should learn every day because every space is changing, so is nutrition. So you have to read the right things. And I think if they've become a dietitian, they know where to get the right information. Today you get in whatever group you are, so many journals, you don't even know how to read it. There's no time, right? But it's important. Spend some time. Every week, at least 1 hour. Sit down and update yourself. This is very important. So 2020, ICMR released the new protein called the EAR, estimated average requirement. Adle they made it 0.6 for those who are very sedentary, 0.6 per kg body weight. Lot of dietitians have not updated at all. They still talk about 1 gram per kg body weight. It's not that it's wrong. If you're very active, please do. But when people are taking 20 grams, which is far less than 0.6, at least bring them to 0.6, then go step by step. Whereas people are not understanding this. They cut and paste everything from Western guidelines. That does not completely work. You need to learn that, but you need to apply it
To our situations,
So this is what new dietitians need to learn. They have to update themselves. They have to be first sure of their knowledge. Their knowledge should be strong. Only then they can talk to a doctor saying, hey, if he's saying something different, or he, a medical practitioner, a girl, a lady is saying, they should say, hey, this is the way it is. The modern guidelines are this, do this. Like when I passed out, I told you high carbohydrate, high complex carbohydrate.
1980s la.
Yeah, I went and told everybody, Dr. Jagdishan, whom I was working with, he was very happy. He said, can you please tell in the rounds what this is? Like that, you should give the confidence, the correct knowledge, the right way. You're not looking just at a social media reel and talking, but you are talking because you are a dietitian and you have learnt it from the right source.
So constant updation.
Yeah.
And every year there are new things and there is a complete switch also. இப்போ artificial intelligence ஓட கோர்ஸ் பண்ண போறேன்னு சொன்னீங்க. And I think at every stage as the world is changing,
Correct.
we also have to keep up with the times, இல்லையா? அது ஒன்று. And then being a good listener, right? I think
Very
that is
important.
important. And also understanding what their situation is, circumstance, budget.
Budget is
budget
very,
ரொம்ப
very-
important, இல்லையா மேம்? Because in the cranberry, blueberry, avocado,
I know.
do you have any? Not everyone likes cucumbers, not everyone likes broccoli, அப்புறம் lettuce. What are your thoughts on that? ஏன்னா சாலட்னாலே lettuce தான். இங்கே கொத்தமல்லி புதினாலாம் யாரும் பார்க்கறது இல்லை. So traditional foods versus this அப்படின்னா that's a huge debate that's going on.
Yeah.
And dietனாலே வந்து matcha tea and then berries, avocados அப்படி போயிட்டு இருக்கிற ட்ரெண்ட் பற்றி நீங்கள் என்ன நினைக்கிறீங்க?
See, the problem is, whatever berries இப்போ நம்ம ஊரில் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க. But is it akin to our climate is a big question. And if you see in Ayurveda, they talk about Ritucharya. They talk about which place what should be grown. Like for example, let's take simple season. Today you get...
Seasonal variationsக்கு diet இருக்கு இல்லையா?
Correct. And 24 hours, 12 months a year, you get watermelon.
ஆமா.
But before you remember, only in April to May we used to get, right? So even the nutrient content of that fruit is best in its season. It tastes best. The taste includes nutrition also. So if you eat watermelon in December, it's not tasty. It's not meant to be eaten. Right? So like the simple things they need to know. Like lettuce, for example. I've seen in many markets, the lettuce is already decaying. And then you go, you cut half, you throw and you use it because you want to use lettuce.
And பாதி வந்து ஃப்ரிட்ஜில் திருப்பியும் it goes back இல்லைங்களா? After a week they will use it again.
And my simple slogan is, an amla a day keeps the doctor away.
Wow. நெல்லிக்காய். அரை நெல்லிக்காவா முழு பெருசா?
முழு நெல்லிக்காய். Because that has more nutrient.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away. மாத்திட்டீங்களா
அதை
நீங்க?
மாத்திட்டேன்.
Okay.
ஏன்னா ஆப்பிள் சென்னையில் எங்கேருந்து வரணும்? சிம்லா, டார்ஜிலிங், ஊட்டியில் கூட அவ்வளோ ஆப்பிள் கிடையாது. அதை அங்கேருந்து இங்கே வரத்துக்குள்ளே விட்டமின் சி போச்சு. அப்புறம் அதை வேக்சின்னு பயந்துன்னு எல்லாரும் தோல் எடுத்துடுறாங்க. Then what do you get?
அப்போ நெல்லிக்காய் சாப்பிடலாம் எல்லாரும்.
நெல்லிக்காய்.
எந்த விதத்தில் சாப்பிடணும்? ஏன்னா அதை வந்து ஸ்டீம் பண்ணிவிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் தொகையலெல்லாம் பண்ணுறாங்க, ஜூஸ் எடுத்து குடிக்கிறாங்க, ரா ஜூஸஸ். ஸோ இன் வாட் ஃபார்மேட் ஷுட் பி டேக் அண்ட் டெய்லி எடுக்கலாமா? ஆர் தேர் ப்ரோஸ் அண்ட் கான்ஸ்?
நெல்லிக்காவை பொறுத்தவரையிலும் நிறைய பேர் பச்சை நெல்லிக்காய் வாங்கி கடித்து சாப்பிட்ணுன்னு பார்க்குறாங்க. Your teeth will go through time because it's not meant to be eaten only that way. Once a week have like that. Once a week make a juice and have. Then the rest of the time அதை வந்து உப்பு போட்டு கொஞ்சமாக உப்பு போட்டு கொஞ்சமாக மஞ்சப்பொடி போட்டு வேக வச்சு ரொம்ப கம்மி பாயில் வாட்டர் புட் திஸ் ஒரு பாயில் வந்தவுடனே அணைச்சிடுங்க. அந்த மஞ்சப்பொடி அதில் இறங்கிடும். ஸோ இட் பிகம்ஸ் டபுள் எஃபெக்ட். மஞ்சப்பொடி எஃபெக்டும் இருக்குது, ஆம்லா எஃபெக்டும் இருக்குது.
கர்க்யூமின் and the vitamin C.
Correct.
Excellent.
Then what do people say? No, Nutrients are going, vitamin C goes away.
இந்த வாட்டர் ஆமாம்
It has 600 milligrams. You need 60 per day.
கொஞ்சம் போனாலும்
It doesn't matter. Lime இருக்கு, sweet lime எடுக்கிறீங்க, you're taking coriander, everything has vitamin C, right? If you eat a balanced nutrition, there's no worry about vitamin C. You can take amla, and this one, you press it, and you'll get 6 pieces. 2 is enough. Everybody doesn't have to take the whole amla, because amla is available only 10 months. The other 4 months, you need to store this and keep it. So we need to be sensible. Just because something is good, just because something is a super food, let's not overdo it.
Wow, that's a very strong message. Yeah, the superfood tag. And இப்போ முன்னாடிலாம் ட்ரம்ஸ்டிக் லீவ்ஸ்னு பேசினது வந்து இப்போ மொரிங்கா ஆயிடுச்சு அண்ட் டர்மரிக் லாட்டே எல்லாம் வந்தாச்சு. ஸோ வாட் ஆர் த காமன் ஃபுட்ஸ், அதாவது நம்மளோட ரெகுலர் டயட்லேயே பெரண்டை இதெல்லாம் இருக்கு இல்லையா மேம்? ஸோ வாட் ஆர் திங்ஸ் தட் ஹவ் பீன் ஓவர்லுக்ட்? பிகாஸ் அ வெஸ்டர்னர் வில் நாட் நோ வாட் இஸ் அ வாழைத்தண்டு, வாழைப்பூ, பெரண்டை, அகத்திக்கீரை, இதெல்லாம் சுத்தமாக அவங்களுக்கு தெரியாது. அண்ட் தே வில் ஒன்லி பி டாக்கிங் அபவுட் வாட்ஸ் அவைலபிள் லோக்கலி ஃபார் தெம். So, could you share your thoughts on that? Because you also mentioned, நீங்கள் சியாட்டில் போனீங்க, உங்கள் டாட்டரை பார்த்தீங்க, and you saw that coconut water was available in Tetra Packs. அதை பற்றி நீங்கள் என்கிட்ட சொன்னீங்க. But I would love to hear that so that our viewers also can.
Correct. See, பெரண்டை எல்லாம் வரும் வீட்டிலேயே வளர்ந்தது. Today we are living in apartments, so we don't have that opportunity. But பெரண்டை, வெத்தலை, கொரியாண்டர் இதெல்லாம் ஒரு பாட்டில் ஈஸியாக வளர்க்கலாம், பிரச்சனையே கிடையாது. இது ஒரு மரம் கிடையாது. இட்ஸ் எ ஸ்மால் திங். வெறும் வெந்தயக்கீரை இதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப ஈஸியாக நம்ம வீட்லேயே ஒரு ஃப்ளாட்லேயே, ஈவன் இன் ஆஸ் ஸ்மால் அ ஃப்ளாட் as you're living in, you can keep a pot and these things வளர்க்கலாம். தட் இஸ் த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் திங். ஏன்னா எல்லோரும் உடனே தட் வில் பி த ரீசன். செகண்ட், இல்லைன்னா மார்க்கெட்டில் கிடைக்கிது, ரொம்ப ஈஸியாக கிடைக்கிது. ஸோ இதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப முக்கியம். ஏன்னா அந்தந்த டைமில் அது யூஸ் பண்ணால் இட்ஸ் வெரி குட். அந்த மாதிரி ட்ரெடிஷ்னல் ஃபுட்ஸ், வாழைத்தண்டு, வாழைப்பூ. இன்ஃபேக்ட் வாழைத்தண்டு ஜூஸ், இது எங்கள் மாமியார் சொல்லுவாங்க. நவ் ஈவன் சயின்ஸ் இஸ் ப்ரூவிங் அண்ட் ஆயுர்வேதா ஆல்சோ ப்ரூவ்ஸ் இட் தட் இஃப் யூ ஹாவ் கிட்னி ஸ்டோன், விச் இஸ் வெரி வெரி காமன் டுடே, when you get it early stage itself, நீங்கள் வாழைத்தண்டு ஜூஸ், that is basically you just have to buy வாழைத்தண்டு, cut it, juice it. Even if you put like this much, வெறும் 1/4 டம்ளர் தான் வரும். That's enough. 1/4 glass of வாழைத்தண்டு juice or banana stem juice is more than enough. If you take that for a week, that will automatically கரைஞ்சி வெளில வந்துடும். It will come out.
We recommend it all the time.
Yeah. It's awesome. But people don't know it. They don't even buy வாழைத்தண்டு. They don't know how to use it. அதுக்கு தான் கட் பண்ணி கூட விற்க ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க இப்போது. அதில் பிரச்சனை இல்லை. பிகாஸ் இஃப் அ பீன்ஸ் இஸ் கட், its nutrients are gone. But vaழைத்தண்டு, when we cut, we put it in more, we soak it. So there's nothing that's going to be lost. It's the fiber and other things which is so good. So it's very important to use traditional. In fact, there was a beautiful study, I don't remember where I saw it. In India, in every 100 kilometers, there are different vegetables which are used, and they use it specifically in a particular way, which is so good to them.
அந்த கிளைமேட்டிக் கண்டிஷன்ஸ், ஜியோகிராஃபிக் லொக்கேஷனுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி, ரைட்?
Amazing.
அமேசிங். தேங்க்ஸ் ஃபார் ஷேரிங் திஸ். ஸோ இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங். மேம், உங்களோட ஒரு இது வீடியோ வந்து வைரலாக போயிட்டுருக்கு, குமுதம் ஸ்நேகிதி. ஸோ நீங்கள் என்ன பேசுனீங்க அதை பற்றி? என்ன கான்டெக்ஸ்டில் நீங்கள் வந்து யூ மென்ஷன் தட் சில்ட்ரன் பீயிங் ஓவர் வெயிட் ஆர் ஒபீஸ் அண்ட் அவங்களோட ஈட்டிங் ஹேபிட்ஸ் இஸ் பீன் இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ்ட் பை த எல்டர்ஸ் ஆர் த பேரண்ட்ஸ், இல்லையா? ஸோ நீங்கள் என்ன கான்டெக்ஸ்டில் சொன்னீங்க?
இல்லை, this all started with a study. Okay. I had aligned with the University of Washington and with the Australian.
உங்களோட அந்த டிவி லைஃப் சயின்சஸ் ரிசர்ச் கம்பெனி இல்லையா?
கரெக்ட்.
இந்த ஸ்டடி பண்ணியிருந்தீங்க.
ஸோ அந்த ஸ்டடியில் we had gone to schools. அப்போது ஒரு சின்ன குழந்தை, we had gone to see primary school children. What they had school lunch also, and they had option, வீட்டிலேருந்தும் கொண்டு வரலாம். ஸோ நாங்கள் யார்கிட்டையுமே சொல்லலை, only the principal knew and we were going. That is 3 of us, one from University of Australia, one from US and myself. ஸோ நாங்கள் போன உடனே அந்த குழந்தைகள் வந்து டப்பாவை மூடி. So I said, what happened? Who do you know we are and why you doing this? அப்போ they said, வந்து, you know, at lunch time you're coming. Obviously, you're coming to see my dabba. And my dabba has noodles and I know it's not good. So I'm closing it. This is second class. So the children know what is good, what is not good. And particularly in that school, they teach food labeling by class 5. They give assignments in food labeling.
அவ்வளோ சின்ன வயசுலயே they are doing all this.
Excellent. They are doing an amazing job. School lunchum provide பண்றாங்க. Only thing is they give the choice to choose what it wants. So obviously பருப்பு கம்மி ஆயிடுது, தயிர் கம்மி ஆயிடுது. If they plate it and give, lot of plate waste. So how we did that study is, we took the plate when it's served. After eating we took. So we knew that what the plate, what actually had gone in. அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணினோம். அதுலேருந்து slowly I started seeing into my clinic walk children, 10-year-olds. What is the weight they should be?
25, 30.
Yeah.
Depends on their height also.
Yeah.
80 கிலோவா?
85. And parents are scolding them. ஸோ அந்த கான்டெக்ஸ்டில் நான் சொன்னேன், நீங்கள் குழந்தைகள் வந்து வெயிட் போடாத பார்த்துக்கணுன்னா ஃபஸ்ட்டு கரெக்ட் உணவு கொடுக்கணும். பிகாஸ் நிறைய பேரண்ட்ஸ் என்கிட்ட வந்து என் குழந்தைகள் காயே சாப்பிட்றதில்ல.
அதுதான் ஒரு காமன் ப்ராப்ளமாக இருக்குது. கரெக்ட்.
சரியா? நான் சொன்னேன், நீங்கள் வந்து டெஃபினட்டாக உருளைக்கிழங்கு கேட்டால் என்றைக்கோ ஒரு நாள் உருளைக்கிழங்கு பண்ணலாம். டெய்லி உருளைக்கிழங்கு பண்ணிங்கன்னா இட்ஸ் அ ப்ராப்ளம், ஆப்சல்யூட் ப்ராப்ளம். நீங்கள் வந்து மற்ற எல்லா காயும் நீங்களும் சாப்பிடணும். அண்ட் திஸ் ஷுட் பி டன் ஏர்லி இட் செல்ஃப். முதல்லே நம்ம வந்து 6 மாதம் கழித்து உணவு கொடுக்க ஆரம்பிக்கலாம். அப்போவே நம்ம கொடுக்க ஆரம்பிக்கணும். அப்புறம் குழந்தை நம்மளோட உட்காந்து சாப்பிடுது 1 வயசுக்கு மேலே. அப்போவே நம்ம சாப்பிட்றத பார்த்து இட்ஸ் சீயிங்.
அப்போ அம்மா அப்பா என்ன சாப்பிட்றாங்கங்கிறத
சீயிங் இஸ் லேர்னிங். அண்ட் தே வில் ட்ரை, தே வில் இது. ஐ ரிமெம்பர் மை மதர் இன் லா அட் த ஏஜ் ஆஃப் 2 ஷீல் டேக் மை டாட்டர் டு த மார்க்கெட். And she'll say, choose. Even today, that girl knows how to choose tomatoes much better than I do. Because she'll say, இதை choose பண்ணி, இப்படி இருக்கணும், அப்படி இருக்கணும். And when she comes home, the girl will ask, நான் வாங்கி வந்த வெண்டைக்காய் எங்கே சமைச்சே நீ? எனக்கு கொடு. So that way.
Ownership.
Yeah.
நான் போய் மார்க்கெட்டில் வாங்கிட்டு வந்தேன், சரி நீ எனக்கு சமைச்சு கொடு.
Correct.
Excellent.
And podlanga was one thing she didn't like. So we had the opportunity of having a small kitchen garden. I put podlanga seeds. So she saw that little plant grow and the podlanga, she started eating podlanga. So the thing is, we need to be role models. We need to eat it first. We need to show them that we are eating. And சாப்பிட்ற கண்ணா ஒரு வாயில் போடுறது, இங்கே பயப்படுறாங்க சாப்பிடாதா அந்த மாதிரி. So in that context I said, parents should be role models. They should not at that stage குழந்தைக்கு இதான் பிடிக்குது, இது கொடுத்தா சாப்பிடல, இல்லை ஒரு தடவை சாப்பிட்டு வாந்தி எடுத்துட்டு அதனால அதை கொடுக்கக்கூடாது, இந்த மாதிரி பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு சொன்னது. அந்த கிளிப் வந்து பேரண்ட்ஸ் ரோல் மாடலாக இருக்கணும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னது. ஒரு 30 செகண்ட் கிளிப் வெண்ட் அண்ட் பீப்புள் ப்ளூ அப். நீங்கள் எப்படி என்ன சொல்லலாம், என் குழந்தை எப்படி சொல்லலாம், அப்படி சொல்லலாம். ஸோ த மெசேஜ் இஸ், இட்ஸ் ஃபார் எவ்ரிபடி. இஃப் யூ டூயிங் ரைட், we are very happy. But it's the message is, don't get your kids heavy. Because when does a child become heavy? When balance in nutrition is not there. நிறையா கொழுப்பு சத்து, நிறைய மாவு சத்து, இது 2 மாத்திரம் உணவில் இருந்து காயெல்லாம் ஒரு டீஸ்பூன் இப்படி பார்த்துட்டே சாப்பிட்டாங்கன்னா ப்ராப்ளம்.
அது ஊறுகாய் மாதிரி ஒரு பக்கம் வெஜிடபிள்ஸ் இருக்கும் இல்லையா மேம்? நீங்கள் யூஎஸ்க்கு அடிக்கடி போகிறீங்க, உங்கள் டாக்டரோட டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணிட்டு வரீங்க. ஸோ நம்ம அன்றைக்கி பேசினப்போ நீங்கள் சொன்னீங்க அங்கே ரொம்ப குளிராக இருக்குது அண்ட் இளநீர்லாம் வந்து டெட்ரா பேக்கெட்டில் கிடைக்கிது, அது உடம்புக்கு நல்லதுன்னு நிறைய பேர் வாங்கி சாப்பிட்றாங்க. உங்களோட ஒப்பீனியன் என்ன மேம்?
See, இளநீர் is something, where does it grow? In tropical countries. Asia, full of Asia. எங்கே போனாலும் இளநீர் என்ன சூடு. கரெக்டா? ஸோ சூடு டைமில் தான் அதை சாப்பிடணும், குளிர் டைமில் இட்ஸ் நாட். ஸோ தெர் ஆர் ஃபுட்ஸ் ஃபார் ஈச் சீசன், வேர் யூர் லிவிங், ஹவு யூர் லிவிங், எல்லாம் முக்கியம். ஸோ ஹேவிங் இளநீர் தேர் இஸ் நாட் ஆக்சுவலி த ரைட் திங். யூ கேன் ஹாவ் இட் இன் சம்மர் மேபி, பட் நாட் இன் வின்டர்ஸ். In Adu, New Jersey or places where it's snowing, Seattle also, it's very cold. So it depends. Because something is good, அதை எடுத்து சாப்பிட வேண்டாம். Like for example, you were talking about moringa, correct? இப்போ வந்து they put it in capsules and people eat it.
Correct.
Is it cooked? Do we eat raw moringa anywhere?
Not at all.
So இதெல்லாம் பெரிய கேள்விக்குறி. Even tulasi, there are people who are selling tulasi. நம்ம இஃப் வி கோ டு அ டெம்பிள் பிரசாதமாக கொடுத்தா 2 இலை 4 இலை மேக்ஸிமம், மாலை பூரா சாப்பிடுவோமா? அது மாதிரி அதை அடைச்சி கொடுத்து ஒரு கேப்சியூலில் கொடுத்தா. ஸோ ஃபுட்ஸ் ஆர் குட், பட் டு த லெவல். எவ்வளோ வேணுமோ அவ்வளோதான். மஞ்சப்பொடி நல்லது, பட் சிட்டிக்கு தானே போடுவோம். இப்போ டர்மரிக் லாட்டேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு அதில் வந்து மேலே தூவுறாங்க. மஞ்சப்பொடியை பச்சையாக சாப்பிடுவோமா?
சாம்பார் நம்ம குழம்புலலாம் ஆட் பண்ணுறோம்.
எப்போ பாரு கொதிக்க விடுவோம், இல்லை அது ஊறும். இப்போ மஞ்சள்லேயே பிக்கிள் பண்ணுறோன்னா அதில் லைம் போட்டு பச்சை மிளகா போட்டு உப்பு போட்டு ஊற வச்சுடுவோம். ஸோ இட் ஃபெர்மெண்ட்ஸ், தென் இட்ஸ் ஓகே. பட் யூ கேன் நாட் ஹாவ் அ மஞ்சப்பொடி விச் இஸ் ஜஸ்ட் புட் ஆன் அ லாட்டே. இட்ஸ் நாட் குக்ட். ஸோ இட்ஸ் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் டு குக் டர்மரிக். டர்மரிக் இஸ் குட், பட் யூ கான்ட் ஜஸ்ட் ஹாவ் இட் லைக் தட். இப்போ அந்த காலத்தில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா மஞ்சளை ஆக்சுவலாக பாயில் பண்ணிட்டு தான் பொடி பண்ணுவாங்க. ஸோ தட் மஞ்சப்பொடி வாஸ் டார்க்கர் இன் கலர். சம்டைம்ஸ் வென் யூ see in the organic stores மஞ்சப்பொடி டார்க்காக
இருக்கும். ஆமாம்,
அது காரணம் இதான், அது பாயில் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க.
அதுக்கப்புறமா வெயிலில்
காய வச்சு தென் they make a powder. அது ரொம்ப நாள் நிற்காது. பட் ட்ரையாக நான் பவுடர் பண்ணிட்டேன்னா ரொம்ப நாள் நிற்கும். பட் யூ cannot have that dry one raw. It has anti-nutrients. பண்ணவே கூடாது. So we have to be very careful what we eat and how we eat.
I think that is a very important message, ma'am. Also in the seasons சொன்னீங்க இல்லையா, இந்த சீசனுக்கு இது எடுக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா இட் பி வெரி ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்.
லைக் புஷ்னிகா,
வெள்ளையா மஞ்சளா?
வெள்ளை மேக்ஸிமம் சம்மரில் தான் க்ரோ ஆகும். பெஸ்ட் டைம் டு ஈட் பிகாஸ் லைட் இன் கேலரிஸ், ஈஸி டு டைஜஸ்ட். சம்மரில் நிறைய பேர் சொல்லுவாங்கள்ல, வேர்த்து வேர்த்து கஷ்டமாக இருக்குது, சாப்பிடவே முடியல. திஸ் இஸ் ஈஸி டு டைஜஸ்ட். லைக் பழைய சோறு, சம்மர் பெஸ்ட் டைம். ஏன்னா ஃபுல் ப்ரோபயோட்டிக்ஸ். அதை கொண்டு போய் வின்டரில் நான் சாப்பிட்றேன் அப்படின்னு டெல்லியில் சாப்பிட்டாங்கன்னா ஃபஸ்ட்டு ப்ரோபயோட்டிக்கே வராது. புரியுதுங்களா? ஸோ எல்லாத்துக்கும் ஒரு இடம், ஒரு பிளேஸ் எல்லாமே இருக்குது. அதை நான் அவனில் வச்சு நான் வந்து கோல்டு, ஒருத்தர் சொன்னாங்க அதனால சொல்கிறேன். நான் வந்து கோல்ட் ரைஸ் வந்து இந்த மாதிரி புளிக்கிறதுக்கு நைட்டில் நான் வந்து அவனில் டெல்லியில் இட்ஸ் -2 degrees.
ஆமாம்,
அது இட்ஸ் நாட் மென்ட் டு பி டேக்கன் தேர். இட்ஸ் மென்ட் டு பி டேக்கன் இன் த ஹாட் பிளேசஸ்.
ஓகே. அண்ட் ஹவ் அபவுட் ஆட்டம், வின்டர்? பிகாஸ் இந்த டைம் வந்து வி ரெடியூஸ் த அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் கீரை அண்ட் தென் வி டேக் அ லாட் ஆஃப் கொள்ளு, அதுக்கப்புறம் பெப்பர், கஷாயம்ஸ் இதெல்லாமே இப்போ எடுத்துப்போம் இல்லையா?
ஏன்னா we are prone to cold, cough.
எக்ஸாக்ட்லி.
ஏன்னா இந்த கோல்டர் சீசனில் கோல்ட் காஃப் வருது, சான்சஸ் ஆர் மச் ஹையர். இப்போ கோல்ட் காஃப்னா பேண்டமிக்னாலே எல்லாருமே பயந்துடுறாங்க. இப்போ பயப்படவே வேண்டாம். தெர் ஆர் சிம்பிள் ரெமெடிஸ் அட் ஹோம். கஷாயம் ஃபஸ்ட்டு வெறும் துளசி சாப்பிடுங்க.
ஓகே,
அதுவே சிம்பிள்.
துளசி லீவ்.
யா, ஓகே. இஃப் யூ ஹேவ் உமவல்லி which is a plant, if you have that at home, give it to a baby that is after 1 year. கடிச்சு சாப்பிடலாம். ஆர் புழிஞ்சு, you just press it, lot of juice will come. That can be given. Early cold, these are excellent things. And they grow only in winter better.
Okay, so the homemade kashayams earlier stageலயே கொஞ்சம் சரியில்லைன்னு தெரிஞ்சும் போதே எடுத்துக்கலாம். நெக்ஸ்ட் திங் இஸ் ஆல்சோ இப்போல்லாம் வந்து ஐடி இண்டஸ்ட்ரியிலேருந்து நிறைய பேர் வராங்க. அண்ட் ஆல்சோ sedentary workers sitting for long hours and ஒர்க் ஃப்ரம் ஹோமும் இருக்குது. ஸோ தீஸ் ஆர் பீப்புள் ஹூ கம்ப்ளைன் ஆஃப் கேஸ் அ லாட், கேஸ்ட்ரிக் இஷ்யூஸ் இருக்குது, ஃப்ளாச்சுலன்ஸ் இருக்குன்னு. ஸோ வாட் இஸ் த சிம்பிளஸ்ட் ஹோம் ரெமெடி தட் யூ வுட் ரெக்கமெண்ட், மேம்?
Simplest home remedies, take food from home.
No, we'll order from Swiggy. Uber, Swiggy, எல்லாம் இருக்கு, Zomato இருக்கு.
The whole issue is today even idli maavu, dosa maavu is not made at
home. Yes, it's from outside.
So once it's from outside, we did a study actually. Because I found in early days we used to buy when suddenly people come home and they ask you for idli and you don't have maavu, we started buying the early days. Appo this maavu which we buy, you keep it in the fridge, doesn't get sour at all.
அது எப்படி?
அது அப்படியே கீழே போய் மேலே தண்ணி நிற்குது. Whereas the maavu we make definitely sours even in the best of refrigerators within 3 days. So I found what is happening. Partha, one particular brand had chalk powder in it.
Chalk powder? Oh God, okay.
To prevent the sourness, and that's why it settles down like that. So the moment we say that it has mineral water, it's the best thing to do, buy, where are they selling it in first? Plastic packets.
Correct.
Sour and plastic packets. Xenobiotics, you're eating plastic. Starts from there. Okay, forget about that. Idli made at home, 30 calories. Idli bought from outside can go up to 100 calories. One idli. What's the difference? The way they make it. We grind both, pulika vechi, we make it. Assuming the maavu you buy also is that. Outside, they will use idli arisi, which is already broken arisi. Ulunda matra added, they mix it together. They may add soda and they may give it. That's why you will say when you eat 2 idlis or 3 idlis at home, இது போறவே போறாதுமா 11 மணிக்கு பசிக்குது. You eat 2 idlis outside. Of course, it's a sin to eat idli without vadana.
ஆமா அது காம்போ வேற கொடுப்பாங்களே ஒரு காஃபியும் வரும் ஒரு வடையும் வரும்.
So plain idli சாப்பிடுறாங்கன்னு வெச்சுக்கலாம். அதுவே it will keep you full till 2 o'clock. Because it's bigger, the calories are higher, the way it's prepared is different, it takes longer to digest. So eating out even in idli is so different. What to talk of anything else? The chana they cook, they add soda so that it cooks fast. You remember the lab experiment we have done in college?
Yes.
Chana soak panni, vega vechi, it takes 20 minutes to cook. If you put soda quick, it will cook. So you don't know. Because we absolutely have no idea how people are preparing these. People believe it's healthy. In fact, my yesterday's video is foods and food-like things.
Oh, okay. So, on YouTube, you have posted. Okay.
Because these are all food-like things. You think that chana is good, but sometimes it's not cooked. Sometimes it's cooked with other things. Romba jagradhiya irukku. Idhukku dhaan gastritis. One stress is the major cause. Because they have to finish that many dockets in that hour. They don't even visit the toilet because of that.
They are in meetings, back-to-back Zoom meetings or whatever,
That
right?
is why they get kidney stones. Because concentration. We've done crystals in chemistry lab in school. If anything gets concentrated, crystals are formed. So urine gets concentrated, crystals are formed. That is kidney stones.
Fissure, constipation. This is another thing. நிறைய பேர் surgeriesக்கு போறாங்க. Right? And body heat also ரொம்ப ஜாஸ்தி அப்படின்ட்டு.
I know even a client who left her tech job because she was so sick with these kind of problems, fissures, IBS, gastritis. So finally, what are you guys earning for health? Right? So give that half an hour for health. Cook your food, take it. It will make a huge difference to your gut health.
Okay. How about meal prepping? சில பேருக்கு டைம் இருக்காது. காய் கட் பண்ணி வைக்கலாமா ப்ரீவியஸ் டே அண்ட் இஸ் இட் ஓகே டு மேக் ஃபியூ சட்னீஸ் ஆர் சம்திங் அண்ட் தென் கீப் இட் இஸ் தட் ஃபைன் பிகாஸ் அட்லீஸ்ட் தென் தே வில் ஸ்டில் ஈட் ஹோம்மேட் ஃபுட் இல்லைங்களா?
Absolutely. See, ideal, grind and eat. This is ideal. But it's not possible. You do it the other way. Whatever you can do to take home food, at least partly home food. Carry a salad with you. Don't even have to carry full things. Take a cucumber, peel and eat. Eat tomato, wash and eat. Take a carrot, bite and eat. Your teeth will be better because you're not biting anything. Everything you're swallowing. You're supposed to bite 20 times for every mouth. This is what Ayurveda says. Do we do that? We're gulping, we're watching something on the phone,
television
or TV or phone. Our mind is not with our food. How will you know that our stomach is full?
Exactly. You're overriding the information. Yeah. So, அதனால தான் இப்போ ரொம்ப gastric issues and all of that has come. Okay. And another thing is also sleep. Sleep பற்றி சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தீங்க இல்லையா? When would you recommend your clients to sleep? And 10. Okay, same here. So, sleep வரல அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு தூக்கம் இல்லாமல் நிறைய issues இருக்குது. அதனால gut health, அது முடி கொட்டது and everything, right? You can connect it to every possible thing. So, what are the simple things that you would recommend? Because you practice Ayurvedic dietetics. It'll be good to hear from you, ma'am.
Eat before 7 dinner. People won't like it. It will go viral. If you take this half a second and put it, it will go viral. Right? See, people are talking about intermittent fasting. They are doing. At least eat at 7 now. Wherever you are, you may finish your work at 10, 12, whatever it is. Try to sleep by 10. That's also important. But very important to finish because the moment Surya Bhagwan goes down, your digestive capacity goes down. So if you start making food at 10 and eat it at 12 midnight, it's called Asura Sandhi Vela. If you eat after, 7, 8 p.m., It's called like that because it's supposed to be the time when you can't digest, so all the devils come அப்படின்னு அந்த காலத்துல
So
சொன்னாங்க.
the devils are these non-communicable diseases.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we are facing.
Correct.
And இப்போல்லாம் pre-diabetes, like the stats says 136 million in India have pre-diabetes. And குழந்தைகள் around, we have someone in the clinic who's a client who's just 7 years old and very high fasting postprandial insulin levels. So what are your thoughts on pre-diabetes? ஏன்னா தூங்குறது இல்லை, வெளியில இருந்து சாப்பாடு, they're not walking or moving enough. Aptly எல்லாமே ஆர்டர் பண்றாங்க. What are your thoughts? How do you coax people to make these changes?
I think we should start a business of finding somebody who cooks healthy and give to people.
Okay.
That would solve the problem. Yeah. See, the main problem is, as I told you, eating out. So they don't get the right type of foods. If you move out to bakery, or if you move out to continental, or if you move out to Italian foods, these are not our foods. So we can't digest it. Yeah, Italian வந்து சாப்பிட்டு ஹெல்த்தியாக தான் இருக்கான். Yesterday somebody told me in the talk. என்ன நீங்கள் சொல்கிறீங்க, எல்லாரும் ஹெல்த்தியாக தான் இருக்காங்க, நம்மளுக்கு என்னாச்சு, நம்ம இட்லியில் இல்லையே. We can't eat so much of cheese. We cannot digest it.
ஆமா, cheese ஒத்துக்கிறதே இல்லை. Yeah, I had a trouble, major issues. Even green tea என்னோட body type க்கு suit ஆகல. Yeah.
Correct.
Why
so,
is that?
in fact, first when the company which was making bread and biscuits made cheese, I really started crying that day.
Oh.
Because people will immediately go for it. Now it's happened. It's like cheese is part, and then with the keto diet and paleo diet and this diet, paleo of course won't have cheese. But keto diet, because cheese has protein, people jump, but they forget it has fat too, it has sodium too. And 90% of the cheese is processed cheese.
Yes, absolutely.
And we are the global capital of cardiac disease. And in that, hypertension is first, and sodium is high. So, இந்த மாதிரி சின்ன பசங்களே நம்ம கெடுத்து விட்டுறோம்.
அவங்க வயசு மாதிரியே இல்லை மேம். they are looking much older than their age இல்லையா?
வயசு தான், வயசு இருக்கணும்னா வெயிட்டு கரெக்டாக இருக்கணும். வெயிட் ஏறிடுச்சுன்னா ஹார்மோன்ஸ் மாறிடும். ஹார்மோன் மாறினா இந்த மாதிரி உள்ள எல்லா பிரச்சனையும் வர ஆரம்பிச்சிடும். We are very worried about the future of children in urban cities.
Very, very, sad that it's going in that trend and people are eating out a lot. Ella app and also midnightly order பண்ணி சாப்பிடுறாங்க. In fact, there are streets which are full of food outlets and there's biryani being served at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, there was a patient who told me they keep an alarm. They sleep, get up at 2, go and eat biryani at 3 and come back.
Oh my God, this...
I said, what is this? This is all really behaving very funnily. You're not human beings. You have, I can go to another level. You have really some love for yourself. You won't do all this.
Exactly. Yeah.
And biryani is another problem because people think they're eating meat or they're eating healthy food.
They think it's a high protein diet.
அதில் எங்கே எண்ணணும், ஒரு பிளேட்டில் 4 பீஸ் இருந்தால் ஜாஸ்தி. வாட் இஸ் மோர் தேர் இஸ் த ஸ்பைசஸ், த ஆயில், அண்ட் வாட் ஆயில் தே யூஸிங், God
knows. Okay. What are your recommendations for oil?
Oil basically 15 ml per day per person, which were, in India Grace Marks is always helpful. So 15 to 30 is 450 plus 50 I'm giving. So they're very happy because buy one get one free, everybody will buy. They won't even see the expiry date. Right? So 15 ml ஒரு நாளைக்கு, that is 10 ml should be traditional oil, whether you're using gingerly or groundnut. 5 ml can be sunflower, rice bran or ghee, whatever you're using.
Cold pressed oils, any inputs there?
Lot of inputs. See, cold press oil is sold in every nook and corner. It's a simple business made by people, right? How do you believe that the actual oil is given to you? Price is higher, agreed. So
we don't know where it's coming from, whether it's authentic. தெரியாது நமக்கு.
சரி, உங்க கண் எதிர்க்கே பண்ணி கொடுக்கறாங்க. Okay, happy. You know that your grandmother smells the beautiful taste of நல்லெண்ணெய் or கடலெண்ணெய். Fine. You buy it, you believe in it, so it's fine. But they ask between refined oil or packeted oil and cold press oil. The reason is, in the எண்ணெய் that you buy, suppose it is கடலெண்ணெய், it can have pieces of கடலை or tholi of கடலை in it, plus the moisture, water. So this can go rancid very fast. You have to buy often. In this fast-paced, community, do people have the time? Is first thing. Second, don't eat rancid oil. It's not good at all. Anything rancid is not good. Thinking that you spent so much of money and you ate it, then spoiling your health is the worst thing. Coming to packeted oil, what do they do in processing? They remove the water and they actually, because the packet has to stay for 3 months, they double filter the oil. This is all they do. But today, processing has become a big sin. Processed food is bad. This is what, as dietitians, we are saying.
Yes,
What do we mean?
ultra-processed food. Yes, I think you need to clarify that today.
What we mean by processed food, when you make vada and sell it in a packet, or process the ulundu, make it so that directly without soaking you can just put water and make a vada, that is processed vada. Whereas ulunda veetla vechu oora vechu panna, it's different. Why? That can have anything and everything and you may not know about it. So you have to be careful. Processing is something, because the lady yesterday asked me in the talk, milk is processed, ma'am, how do I have it? Because it's processed food. I said, you're right. It's not milk out of the cow, but if you can afford to have a cow, please do. That's better than having the Indian breed cow. You please have. You'll get the best milk, which is thin and fat, not the Jersey cow. And you can have the milk, no problem. That's what my mother-in-law did. But how many of us have that opportunity?
And then city live with small homes, not practical.
It's not possible. Processed milk, what you get in that form is fine. But processing it into milk powder, processing into other forms, if you're traveling, it's fine. But every day to buy that milk powder and using, it's not needed.
And certain foods need to be processed in order for us to digest it.
Correct.
And make it more bioavailable.
Correct.
Right,
So they're confusing what is it. Like even processed millets. Can you have samai or varagu without processing? You can't, because the outer skin cannot be
digested.
Taken.
Yes.
But bajra can be had. You can have like pearl millet or kambu, or you can have little millet or thanai. All these you can have. But you cannot have those. So you need to. Either puri mating.
Millets பற்றி கேட்கணும்னு நினச்சேன். தேங்க்ஸ் ஃபார் கிளாரிஃபைங் திஸ் மேம் அபவுட் ப்ராசஸிங். மில்லட்ஸ் வந்து யூ நோ ஹவு இட் ஜஸ்ட் வாஸ் ஸோ பாப்புலர் அண்ட் ஹோல் ஆஃப் லாஸ்ட் இயர் இட் வாஸ் த இயர் ஆஃப் த மில்லட்ஸ். நிறைய பேருக்கு அது சூட் ஆகுறதில்ல. இன்ஃபேக்ட் ஐ மெட் டாக்டர் பென்சே அண்ட் ஸ்போக் டு ஹிம் அண்ட் ஹீ கேவ் யூ ஆன்சர்ஸ். பட் ஐ நீட் யோர் இன்புட்ஸ் ஆல்சோ ஆன் தட். மில்லட்ஸ் யாரெல்லாம் சாப்பிடலாம், யார் சாப்பிடக்கூடாது, ஏன்னா சில பாடி டைப்புக்கு ஒத்துக்கிறது இல்லை. தே ஹேவ் சிவியர் கேஸ்ட்ரிக் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ். And because they think it is healthy, they end up eating in large quantities. And they are sitting in AC rooms, they're not moving enough, exercise. Please share your inputs, ma'am. And which is the easiest one to digest also?
See, it's very, very important to look at your gut before you change your diet. Gut, are you digesting your food? This is very, very important to look into. Otherwise, you cannot. You have to go back to 2-year-old baby's diet. Set your gut right. Then come back. Then you can eat anything and everything. Because for some reason, your gut has got spoiled, either stress or the lifestyle that you lead. Now, coming to millets, first, before I tell what millets, you have to do one of these 3 things before you eat a millet. Either you roast it, you sprout it, or you ferment it. This is very, very important. Immediately, people will ask, I buy a bajra flour, or I buy as a flour, maavuva vangre. That is dry flour. Should I roast it? It's important because you don't know whether the chap roasted it, right? So it's important to roast it even if you use as a flour. Then they'll say, traditionally, we used it without roasting. Now, why is it important? I said, traditionally, you had farms also. You got the millet yourself. You know what went into it, how you did it. Now, you don't know. So it's better you follow one of these 3 things because hypothyroidism is rampant.
Correct.
And if you do not do this, millets can create, if you're borderline, you can go into issues. So please do it. That's the first thing. Second, millets should be started slow in the diet. Overnight, you don't change from white rice to bajra or ragi every day. You first start with the polished millets like samai, varagu, kudravali, which are the polished millets. Then you move. Even that, start with using, like little millet is the easiest to cook. You can cook as pongal, as upma, so that it has other things with it, not just millet. Whereas you replace rice with that, it will become difficult. And initially, what will you do? If you're taking 2 cups of rice, you'll try to eat 2 cups of millet. That should not be done. because millets have a lower glycemic index and they have some amount of fiber and protein. So they will fill you up faster. So you will eat only a cup, but you get psychologically upset. So try to make a little bit of millet, a little bit of rice and eat both. Then move on. Then make a idli dosa batter with 1 of millet, 3 of rice and urad. Then move to 2 of millet, 2. Then you can move to 4. Everything has to be done slow.
Systematically, so that the body also gets used to it.
But if it's your body who is not able to take it, it's not the end of the world. People eat rice and nothing has happened to them. As I told you, my mother-in-law lived 96, nothing happened to her. No diabetes, no cardiac disease, no blood pressure. So it's your body type, how you are. But more importantly, digest your food properly. Eat that type of food. That's important.
Excellent. Thank you, ma'am. ஏன்னா millets பற்றி நிறைய questions இருந்தது.
இன்னும் ஒன்று சொல்லணும்.
Sure.
வீனிங் ஃபுட்ஸில் ராகி ஆரம்பிக்கிறச்சு நம்ம ஊற வச்சு அதை அரைச்சி அந்த தோலை எடுத்துட்டு அந்த மாவை காய வச்சு தான் கொடுப்போம். டுடே they are taking the சத்து மாவு that we give to the pregnant lady and making it and giving it as a weaning food. It should not be done because the child cannot take the fiber. Similarly, a 1-year-old child, they are introducing millets like bajra and ragi. You have to go slow. So be careful. Health is one side, but who you're giving to, how you're giving is very important.
So ஒரு குழந்தைக்கு that is weaning foods 6 month அப்புறமா ஆரம்பிக்கும் போது what are the things that you will recommend? Simple foods.
Best is ragi if you have the effort and either to do it or somebody can make it and give it to you.
Ragi milk?
Yeah, best is ஊற வச்சு. You have to grind it like your idli dosa batter. You have to strain it. So that double strainer where the complete fiber comes up and the water goes down. You keep the water for an hour. The solid part will go up and the water will come up. Decant it, dry it in the sun. This can be used as a kanji. It has iron, calcium, protein, all that the child needs.
Excellent. So
But is it possible illena? Start with rice. Give rice kanji, purungal arsi kanji. You can add little bit of ajwain to it later. First plain purungal arsi. Later on you
omam add பண்ணிட்டு
omam add பண்ணி grind பண்ணி you can use. But the only thing is when you're making, you should be very careful not to make it into lumps. It should be like a beautiful kanji. Because with purungal arsi, it's a little difficult. You actually put water into that purungal arsi mix. Keep water. As the water is boiling, pour this in. Then it will come out very nicely. If you try putting everything together and cooking, it will become lumpy. The child can't eat it. The child can choke in it. You have to be very careful. Adanala, what people do is after making, they add water and then, strain it and give. That becomes very watery. That should not be the case.
And then chewing is also another thing. எல்லாமே அடிச்சு மிக்ஸியில் போட்டு அரைச்சு they keep giving. The baby doesn't, get a chance to even chew. So I think that is also important, right?
That's very, very important. Texture, type of food, like strawberry and all. After the 7th month, easily the child, you give a small piece, they'll be able to, even if their teeth haven't come, they can manage. Or press it, crush it and give it, things like that. You like an orange, peel it nicely, give the juicy fibers inside. They can take it. Don't juice everything and that continues till age 5. And then feeding the child. I know of a mother who was feeding the child till going to board exam.
Oh, okay. ஊட்டி விடுறது. Board exam. Okay.
Because they
சாப்பிட மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. So let me feed.
The thing is that I have only one child.
Ma'am, one more thing is about intermittent fasting. இப்போ பிரதோஷம் ஏகாதசி இதெல்லாம் வரும்போது நம்ம கல்ச்சர்லேயே there's a lot of fasting. And also be it Jainism or other religions like Christianity as well as Muslims also. So intermittent fasting, the pros and cons or else the do's and don'ts. From your experience, kindly share, ma'am.
Absolutely. See, intermittent fasting, the ideal one which everybody follows is 16 hours of fast and 8 hours of eating. Okay? That's the problem. It's not 8 hours of eating.
Yeah.
Okay, in 8 hours, you take 2 meals and 1 snack. That's it. You don't eat every hour of the day. I know of people, I'm doing intermittent fasting. They eat cakes, pizzas, pastries on a daily basis because I'm fasting. 16 hours I'm fasting is what they
I
say.
can eat whatever I want.
That's not the way to fast. If you're fasting for whatever reason, either diabetes control or you're fasting for weight reduction or whatever. But who should not do it? Pregnant, lactating women, old people, those who have gut issues, they should not do it because acidity, gastritis, esophagitis, ulcers, இவங்கெல்லாம் பண்ணக்கூடாது. They should not do it. Okay? Now, coming to intermittent fasting, you cannot start day 1 with 16-hour fasting. You need to go slow because some people can do it because they have a strong mind. But some people cannot do it. So don't feel disheartened. You can start first with 12-hour fasting, then go to 14, then go to 16. Now the easiest way people do it is, they say we fast. You know what they eat? They eat a heavy dinner at around 8 and then they say, or even 10, depending on that, 16 hours they fast. So if it's 8 to 8, till 12 noon they fast. Then they start with their lunch. This should not be done. There are clear rules in intermittent fasting to not skip breakfast. Because if you skip breakfast, there are a lot of problems that you're getting into. So you have to match your fast so that either you stop at 4 or 5 or whatever, your last meal, and then you do. Then they say, we are at work, it's not possible. Then you make it possible by carrying something with you. And we can give you a lot of inputs. Any dietitian can give you inputs of foods you can carry, which will hold, even if you leave at 7 a.m., which will stay, which you can have, and then you can. So if that's important for you, you'll prioritize.
Exactly. Early dinner is the best option. You might as well eat a...
You should. Because then only you can have a proper breakfast and continue. And it has breakfast and dinner, which are supposed to be dinner around 4-5, which are the 2 meals which will have our my plate kind of thing, which has quarter grain, quarter protein, double vegetable. It's the middle one, 12 or 1, which is a snack. Either they can have tea or coffee and they can have any snack that they want, not fried every day. It can preferably be protein also, like sundal and things like that. Then it works wonders. It really works wonders. You don't have to really... And whatever they're eating, if you get that diet and fit it into that, they're very happy with it.
And some have period issues, menstrual issues, if they're into extreme fasting.
Correct.
They're not getting their daily dose of nutrients. So, and there's a lot of confusion around it because of also too much information. Leah?
Correct. Always meet a dietitian, please. They can balance it out for you according to the way you want.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Ma'am, one more thing. பாவக்காய்லாம் நிறைய பேர் சாப்பிட்றதே இல்லை. கசப்பான ஃபுட்ஸ் சாப்பிட்டா அதுக்குன்னு ஒரு பெனிஃபிட் இருக்குது. இந்த ரசாஸ் பற்றி சொல்லும்போதோ இந்த டிஃப்ரெண்ட் டேஸ்ட் தட் ஒன் இஸ் சப்போஸ் டு ஹேவ் ஆன் த டெய்லி பேசிஸ். ப்ளீஸ் ஷெட் சம் லைட் இன் டு இட்.
It's very, very important.
It's eliminated. பாவக்காயவே பார்க்கறது இல்லை நிறைய பேரோட ஈட்டிங் ஹேபிட்டில். வீட்டில் வாங்குறதே இல்லைங்கிறாங்க.
See, pavaka and all bitter foods, for that example, neem flower, neem leaves, then you have sundaka, manatakalika. There's so many things. I'll explain each one of them. Where pavaka is bitter good. It's amazing. It even has anti-diabetic properties. Right? Of course, you can't give off a medicine and take pavaka. That's not the idea. In initial stages, pre-diabetes, you can prevent going into diabetes. It's very important. It's high in fiber. These nutrients are very, very good. 5 types of tastes when we talk about. Bitter is one. And kasap, that is, it's very, very important to eat this. So you need to take it. But the mistake people do is fry panni சாப்பிட்றாங்க. என்னைக்கா ஒரு நாள் ஃப்ரை பண்ணால் பரவாயில்ல. எப்போவுமே பாவக்காய் ஃப்ரை பண்ணி தான் சாப்பிடுவேன். This is rubbish. So you should make a regular vegetable. All of us know either a kootu, vegetable, pitla, we call it, things like that. We can make and eat. It's not as bitter. There are methods to remove the bitter where we put manjapudi, uppu, puli, soak it. Then we squeeze it and then we use it. Anti-nutrients also goes away, but bitterness and health still remains. So this is how you should use it. Coming to neem flower. When somebody has diarrhea, if you save the neem flower, because only from March to May you get it. Other dry panni veru sun. Dry it and keep it. It stays for a year long and even more. You just roast it. Make a powder and keep it ready. Or if you use ghee, fry it in ghee, add it to hot rice. the early stages of diarrhea, it will stop. It's amazing. Drink neem water. It will help in many ways in digestion.
Anti-helminthic, yeah.
Correct. Then neem leaves are for worms actually. The tender leaves you can eat, which starts in around February. So if you have a plant next to you or in your neighborhood, even some apartments maintain the neem tree. So you will get that. You can have that. Or even the bigger leaf, you can use it, you boil it in water or just make something with it, with little jaggery you can mix it because it is very bitter. You can eat it. Now coming to sundeka, it's called turkey berry. It's very, very good because adla vetta kolumbu panni saapiduvanga or kara kolumbu. The reason is because it's very good for gut. Once a week they gave it because your gut health is made all right by that. Same thing with manatakalika, which is actually, I don't know the English name for it. It is a small plant which has a violet fruit. And it's green in color when it is not ripe. When it's ripe, it's very tasty. You will see children going, picking and eating it. But when it's not ripe, it's green in color. They take it then they dry it. It's black. It's available everywhere. At least in Chennai, it's available everywhere. You can fry it again in little oil and then use it in hot rice once or twice a month. It's again very good to prevent all kinds of infections and things like that. So if you have indigestion, this helps. Another very, very important thing is called Vepalakatti.
Correct. உங்ககிட்ட கேட்கணும்னு நினைச்சேன் மேம். Yeah.
Vepalakatti is not made from Vepala. It's not neem leaf. Unfortunately, the name does not speak of what it is. It is made from Narthanga yellow. You know Narthanga is a citron fruit. It's made from the leaf of that plant. Usually it used to be available very easily around Chennai, either in homes or outside. You take the tender leaves, you add ajwain or omam, and you add a little bit of chili and a little bit of tamarind. Tamarind is optional. You want to add or not, salt. Just grind it, no cooking. This is just fantastic. Suppose sometimes you feel, food is choking. I don't want to eat. Vaya tarna kaka kottum. Literally you feel like that. You say that either you've eaten too much or your food is just not going down. It's just not going down. Just take literally a pinch of this. Put it in water and drink it. Next morning, you're all right. It will send out all the stuff. You may go to the loo 2-3 times. But it sends it out. That's it. It's so fantastic.
So much relief, Lingla.
Yeah. If this is not there, Vettala is available everywhere. Take betel leaf, add the same ajwain, only 1/4 teaspoon. Because omam is very, very spicy. Rumba karam. Add, if you're not diabetic, kalkand. If you're diabetic, you have to bear with the spice. Just bite and eat. Because you have to, omam. You have to bite it nicely because omam you have to bite, not just swallow it. Same, it will help you.
That's great. These are all those simple tips and home remedies and how beautifully it works. Just 2 days back, காலையில் காராமணி சுண்டல் சாப்பிட்டேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் in between I had taken a protein shake. அப்புறம் உங்கள் ஆஃபீஸில் போய் கிளினிக்கில் போய் உட்காந்து கிளைண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்து முடிக்கிறதுக்குள்ளே by 4 o'clock I had so much of gas. வீட்டுக்கு போன உடனே மை மதர்-இன்-லாட்ட சொன்ன உடனே ஷி கேவ் சம் அஷ்டச்சூர்ணம். ஸோ அது ஜஸ்ட் ரைஸில் போட்டு கீயோட மிக்ஸ் பண்ணி சாப்பிட்டேன். வித்தின் த நெக்ஸ்ட் 1 hour I was completely fine.
The other easy trick is do jeera water.
ஜீரகம், ஓமம், பெருஞ்சீரகம்.
இல்லை, plain jeera water you can do. Boil it, take it, add a dash of butter and take it.
Butter?
The gas will go. Not ghee, butter.
Butter, okay, interesting. And I'm sure it is that unprocessed or the white butter.
Correct.
Okay, so one more thing that I wanted to ask is, இப்போ நீங்கள் குழம்பு பற்றி சொன்னீங்க, சுண்டக்காய் குழம்பு இதெல்லாம் பண்ணுறது அப்படின்னு. Monday to Sunday எடுத்தோம்னா டெய்லி பருப்பு பேஸ்ட். இப்போ இந்த ப்ரோட்டீன் திங், you know how we all work and with sports people it is different. So we emphasize on protein so much and there are a lot of vegetarians too. Generally இப்போ எடுத்தோம்னா Monday to Sunday டெய்லி பருப்பு பேஸ்ட் குழம்பு இருக்கலாமா? அப்படி இல்லைன்னா do we introduce this ginger, garlic or the sundaka in between? So how would you split for the 7 days?
7 daysல 1 day தான் சுண்டக்கா or குழம்பு without பருப்பு.
Okay.
Okay, on that day also they'll make பருப்பு தொகையல்.
வத்த
So
குழம்புக்கு
little bit.
பருப்பு தொகையல்.
So automatically you will get the பருப்பு, or even if they make a more கொழம்பு, it still has protein. It's not a problem. So one of these you can do. Other days you can have பருப்பு in different ways. Today people know only sambar. No, you can add பருப்பு, but you add lot of பருப்பு to the கூட்டு. People add very little and they say, I had kootu paruppu. Not that way. And first thing people used to eat was rice, dal and ghee.
ஆமாம் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அதுதான் நாங்களாம் ஓணத்துக்கு மீனிங் எஸ் அந்த இலை சாப்பாட்டில்.
So, எல்லா சாப்பாடும் போது தான் இல்லை. Daily eat that.
ஓகே ஹேவ் தட் லிட்டில் பிட் ஆஃப் பருப்பு கீ அண்ட்
And then you start and you're done.
ஓகே ஓகே கிரேட். ஸோ ரெசிஸ்டன்ட் ஸ்டார்ச் பற்றி கேட்கணும்னு நினச்சேன். ஏன்னா ஜாக் ஃப்ரூட் ஃப்ளார் பற்றின வீடியோ இஸ் வைரல், கோயிங் வைரல். அண்ட் அது பயங்கரமாக ஸ்லாம் பண்ணுற ஆளுங்களும் இருக்காங்க, யூஸ் பண்ணுறவங்களும் இருக்காங்க. ஸோ வாட் ஆர் யோர் தாட்ஸ் ஆன் ரா ஜாக் ஃப்ரூட் ஃப்ளார்?
I think it's excellent. You should use it. And there is a doubt, should I cook it and use it? Should I not cook it and use it? It is already kind of processed. So it is cooked in some form. So if you really don't have time to make a chapati out of it or add it to your rice, you can even put it in your buttermilk and take it. Because the traditional thing they have said is make chapati. But how many people eat chapati in Chennai? Very less.
நாங்கெல்லாம் மோரில் கலந்து சாப்பிட சொல்லுவோம்.
அவ்வளவுதான்.
இட்லி தோசை மாவு
Whatever, you can put in idli dosa maavu, but some people don't want the texture to change because it's their idli maavu, right? So, so instead of that, easy. You can put it in buttermilk. Easiest way to add. No, we don't take buttermilk, we don't take curd. No, add it to your hot rice and eat, no problem. You can eat it in any form, but definitely it has its benefits. You don't have to eat lots. Even 2 tablespoons makes a big difference.
Yeah, we've been giving it to clients and we tried it for a good 1.5 years and we saw a pattern, gave it to family members and the results have been fantastic. So
It's very good.
we've been recommending. Thank you for sharing that. MSG பத்தி தெரியணும்னு நினைச்சேன். Monosodium glutamate. What are your thoughts on it, ma'am? ஏன்னா Ajinomoto அப்படின்னு எல்லாம் there are different brand names. Let's not get into that. But monosodium glutamate, which is used in Chinese cuisine, can that be taken or not?
See, MSG, okay? As a student, I learned it's bad, we should not eat it because it gives that headache, all that. But I had the opportunity to visit Japan in the 100th year of finding MSG. And that is when a totally different perspective I learned.
Okay, something changed completely for you.
Where 5 taste la, 6th taste is MSG.
Umami?
It's called umami. Correct. In Japanese, they call it umami. And they have been using it for years. If you take Japan, that's the only country till now which doesn't have obesity. The only country in the world. And people are living old enough. Even in China they are, but Japan also, it's not like their life ends at 60. They also have people 90 and above like us. Okay. So MSG la enna problem na monosodium glutamate. India is already taking extra sodium as salt from processed food, in the taste enhancers. In the bakery items, it comes as baking powder, baking soda plus taste enhancers. So, we are taking sodium too much. If we replace our salt partly by this and partly by salt, it has wonders in it. Because there are a lot of benefits also.
சால்ட்டை கட் பண்ணிவிட்டு இதை ஆட் பண்ணும்போது
ஏன்னா இதுவும் சால்ட் டேஸ்ட் தானே மோனோசோடியம் குளூட்டமேட். Now glutamic acid is in breast milk. So even newborn babies are having it. So monosodium glutamate is a part of that. And you're saying that that is bad, that is idu. In fact, India only has the labeling of saying you have to say it as MSG.
So declare it on the label.
The same product sold world over does not have that.
How did this happen?
So somewhere something happened. That let's not get into that. It was made a villain. But I understood it's not a villain, but you have to use it rightly. இங்க என்ன பண்றாங்க, பிரியாணியில் full saltum போட்டு இதையும் போடுறாங்க. They make a dish at home also, they put full salt and add this also. That is wrong. You should use partly MSG, partly idu, no problems. It will be used, but don't overuse it. That is the important.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Next is detox. Dietitians கிட்ட எப்போதுமே கேட்குது, எனக்கு டீடாக்ஸ் டயட்டை கொடுங்க அப்படின்னு. There are so many clients who come and tell. So what is your thought on this entire, this detoxification happens naturally. பட் இதுக்குன்னு ஒரு செப்பரேட்டாக ஒன்று எடுக்கணுமா? ஆர் தேர் எனி ரிச்சுவல்ஸ் பிகாஸ் யூ ப்ராக்டிஸ் ஆயுர்வேதிக் டயட்டெட்டிக்ஸ்? இஸ் தேர் சம்திங் தட் யூ ரெக்கமெண்ட்?
It's amazing. Yeah. Detox, only juice, only இது அது மாதிரி நான் சொல்ல. Ayurvedic principle which has worked in many, many people. When your gut health is so bad, right? If you follow this, which is a thing that is prescribed in Ayurveda, you will first boil rice. You will just take either of raw rice, just a fistful. You will add about 2 liters of water and you boil it for a long time so that that water gets that starch. You drink only the water for 2 days or 1 day depending on your health. In a romba acidic na you can't get it. Next day you make it thicker. Don't add a liter, add lesser water. So second day you will have a little thicker water of the same thing. Then third day you will have easily digestible foods like ash gourd, bottle gourd, things like that which are very easy to digest in soup form with jeera, omam, everything in place over there. Then go to normal food first as easily digestible. What will you give your 2-year-old? You will give idli. You won't give dosa, right? You will give idli, steam foods. Give idiyappam, things like that. Then go to adding dal. Then you have a normal diet. The gut health gets set. It's very, very beautiful. It's called something, not Panchakarma, it's called some particular name. Beautiful. Dr. Pense only taught us first. Then, of course, Madhu told me it's there in the Veda. So, it's beautiful. So, but of course, you have to go with the Ayurvedic prescription because they will assess your Vata, Pitta, Kapha, whether you can take it. Because everybody can't take it. Because they have systems where they do, induce vomiting to help some people. Induced anemia. Enema to help people. All this, but you have to have the body type to take it. So I can't tell everybody take it. So we have to assess and then give. But I'm not telling correctly the whole thing because they know it better. They know which spice to add, what not to add and things like that.
So you work along with a Ayurvedic doctor. Okay. So detoxification, natural process, but for some who have health issues, need to do it the right way under guidance, medical guidance. Okay. And raw food. Okay. இதெல்லாம் வந்து குட்டி questions, but just trying to understand, can everyone eat raw food or not?
Absolute no. If you can digest it, please have it. And even if you can digest it, somebody may not be able to take broccoli or cabbage or things like that. The
even
cruciferous.
Raw cabbage, cucumber, அதுவே சாப்பிட்டு ஒரே
cucumber நிறைய பேர் எங்க ஃபேமிலியிலே so many people say we can never eat cucumber, whereas my body type I can take any amount of cucumber raw, nothing will happen. Sprouts also, lot of people are not, so we say steam it, idli paane madri vechi just steam it and take it, don't boil, then everything goes. So steam it, then it's fine. Put it in a plate where it won't drip. Steam it and have it with the water. So raw foods varche, it depends on the person. So you take a food diary. If you want to take raw foods, try one by one. Which are the ones which create problems? Then steam them and have it. Or just saute them and have it. But other things you can eat raw. So it's not a fix for everybody. Like a salad. Everybody wants salad, but what they are first looking at is the dressing. Olive oil podlama, adla chilli podlama, adla mayonnaise podlama. And mayonnaise is the sin of the modern society. When I see the first page of the newspaper with mayonnaise, I said India's gone.
அப்படியா? அன்னைக்கே முடிவு பண்ணிட்டீங்க.
Because everybody is using it for anything. Even to eat a puri, they want mayonnaise. Even to eat a chapati, they want mayonnaise. That's not what we ate with, right? That means you're giving up chana. You're giving up the good things which went with it. So this is the problem. I'm not against mayonnaise, but use it less. Use it where it has to. There are people who buy bottles of it, give it. இது இல்லைன்னா குழந்தைங்க சாப்பிட மாட்டாங்க, பெரியவங்க கூட சாப்பிட மாட்டாங்க.
So true. And அதுவும் like kids started dominating or rather manipulating their parents. அவங்க சாப்பிட மாட்டாங்கன்னு அவ்வளோதான், இல்லை அழுது ஆர்ப்பாட்டம் பண்ணுறாங்க. ஸோ பிஹேவியரல் சேஞ்சஸ் கொண்டு வரது இஸ் சச் அ சேலஞ்ச் ஃபார் யங் பேரண்ட்ஸ். they are also focusing on their career, they're running around, getting things done, paying their loans for their house or the vehicle and all of that. அதுக்கு நடுவில் daily இந்த சண்டை is on major hassle and a headache. I think it's very difficult these days in present circumstances because they just take the phone and then order it, right? I think that's a big challenge. Is there any way to even work around it?
Work
It's a
around
huge challenge,
it.
yes.
In fact, I remember an incident in the US. Why I'm saying, because recently I saw it. One particular child பரண்டு அழுதுட்டு இருந்தது in a store. Because obviously, I don't know what happened. Maybe it was asking for a particular food. The mother just walked. The child got up and walked behind her.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, she didn't entertain the drama.
So it's important to, I know it's difficult because in nuclear families to bring up a child is a 24/7 job. It's not easy. And if it's a single child, obviously 100% attention the child wants from you. முன்ன காலத்தில் என்னென்னா அம்மா கோச்சினான்னா பாட்டிட்டு போகும். பாட்டி சொல்லி பரவாயில்ல வா நம்ம இந்த கதை பேசலாம், நம்ம பல்லாங்குழி விளையாடலாம், சம்திங் distraction. But today you don't have that opportunity. So you have to be little careful that you don't indulge every time. That is the only thing. Otherwise, if the child knows that if it throws a tantrum and immediately you're going to give in every time, then it's a problem. Once in a way, it's fine when it's your bad day and the child is creating a lot of trouble because the child is also a toddler or an adolescent and they are having their own problems. It's okay. But every day, if it becomes an issue, you have to become a little resilient and just not listen.
Okay. So, according to you, what are the 3 fruits that you would definitely recommend to any of your clients? Someone in good health or someone who wants to reduce their cholesterol issues or just want to be in good shape?
Season first.
Okay.
Koyaparam is available almost 10 months you can take. Papaya 12 months a year you can take. And any other seasonal fruit. Like if it's watermelon, take watermelon. If it's grapes, take grapes. If it's whatever the season. Oranges, take orange. Like that.
Right now it's in season. Okay. Now in a week, Monday to Sunday, kandipa in the food at least once a week include பண்ணிக்கோங்க. Could be a thoviyal or else a korambu or else some chutney or it could be a kashayam or something. Is there something that you would emphasize? Weekly once, make sure that you take it. You'll be taken care of. It's like a insurance madri. Some protection. Is there something that you might...
Bitter foods.
Bitter foods? Oh, okay.
Sundaka, mantakalika, neem, anything. Because that's the one which people are not taking.
And இப்போ அகத்திக்கீரை you were talking about once in 15 days. அந்த மாதிரி is there some common mistake that you're seeing in our, something that's been overdone? Healthy, but then they're overdoing it and அதனால complications வருது.
See, simple like கீரை itself. There are a lot of people say, daily நாங்கள் கீரை பண்ணுவோம். And then எவ்வளோ பண்ணுவீங்கன்னா இத்தனூன்னு மெல்லிசு கட்டு 2 டேபிள் ஸ்பூன் ஒருத்தர் சாப்பிட்டு இதான் காயை அன்னைக்கு. So we say, if you are doing like that, make something with கீரை. Right?
Daily கீரை சாப்பிடலாமா?
Not necessary. It's not necessary. Variety. That's why I'm saying India is giving you 90 different types of vegetables. Use all of them when and where you can.
Okay. Fine. And IBS-னு வரும்போது FODMAP's diet is what we recommend. ஆனால் Indian diet-னு வரும்போது how do we put that into practice?
See, basically IBS ku first stress. They have to de-stress. There's no two ways. And a diet will help to bring back. But திருப்பி ulcer vandrum. The same inflammation, same problem. So first lifestyle modification is to de-stress. Second, some form of exercise, very, very important because that also actually de-stresses and brings the body into place. When we come to diet, we use all our herbs. It works wonders. Initially, when they are going watery diarrhea, give them arrowroot, which is a fantastic thing to give. Like that neem flower I told you. Use that. Use all our herbs that will not be in the food map because it's not part of that. Of course, easily digestible vegetables, you can follow the same, but more because the watery vegetables are you can make wonderful soups with them and you can add a little moong dal to thicken it. So there's no gluten or anything you're using. So it's very, very beautiful and it works. So I think in the food map, we need to add our herbs. We need to add our dals because protein. You cannot take non-veg at that time. You cannot, even eggs are difficult to digest. Depends. Some people can, most people can't. So we'll give like this. We cannot avoid protein also. So make it easily digestible and things like that. It will really help.
Okay. You mentioned gluten. I definitely would like to know because there are gluten-free, dairy-free diets and we know ஒரு சர்க்கம்ஸ்டன்ஸில் அதை கொடுத்தா ரொம்ப பெனிஃபிஷியலாக இருக்குது. வாட் ஆர் யுவர் தாட்ஸ் ஆன் திஸ்? ஏன்னா அது ஒரு பயங்கர ட்ரெண்ட் ஆகிடுச்சு. எல்லாருக்கும் அது தேவையில்லை, ஆனால் சில பேருக்கு அது தேவையாக இருக்குது. வாட் டு யூ திங்க் அபவுட் இட் மேம்?
See, first, gluten-free in South, not so much of an issue.
நம்ம ரொம்ப சப்பாத்தி
Unless bakery items. Unless bakery items, 100% they have to reduce. Because today, bakery items has become a trend in whatever way. Because it's so easily available, people eat it. So, அது டெஃபினட்டாக ப்ராப்ளம். லைக் நார்மல் ப்ரெட்டை வீட்டில் சாப்பிடுங்கன்னா யாரும் சாப்பிட மாட்டாங்க. ஏன்னா ஜொரம் இதுன்னு அது இட் ஹேஸ் பிகம் ஃபீவர் ஓன்லி யூ ஈட் இட். But otherwise, when they see a jam sandwich or a roll or whatever it is, they get attracted. So that is something they have to be careful because they are not healthy also. But first, maintain a food diary. Is anything with gluten worrying you? Then you definitely start removing it from the diet. This is my personal opinion where you need to maintain a food diary. You cannot say one day I had bloating so I'm gluten sensitive. Because today, loosely people use these words. I say otherwise take a test. But tests are also very, very sometimes misleading. Because as you were mentioning, somebody got rice is allergic.
ஆமா மேம்.
We've never heard this before.
ஐயோ.
And the person has had rice all their life till the age of whatever they are 70. And to say remove rice, it's very difficult.
South Indian, vegetarian, 62 years old and rice allergy. What do we do?
So, unless symptoms are there, we need to worry about, is my personal opinion. Because genetic testing, yes. But sometimes we don't know how to address the test. When they cannot eat 100 things, then it's difficult. So, you go symptomatic. That is one. Or second, integrated. Where at that point, it helps them to digest that in a way that they look at it from the body type. So that also works. They'll say add a simple, they'll say amla, or they'll say add a herb. Then it works wonders. So that is also possible. See, suppose you have somebody who's eaten chapati all their life. And then suddenly you go and tell them you're gluten sensitive enteropathy and they're having issues also. Then how do you change it? So tell them 50% you take first. Instead of overloading 5 chapatis a day, make it like 50% of some other. It can be even, you can add, yesterday I saw even rice flour they are making. But better would be kadla maavu or something like that, moong dal maavu, because it's easier to digest, things like that. So you work with them. Don't overnight tell them, sorry, all this is out of your system.
அப்படின்னா கொஞ்சம் difficult.
Even milk for that matter. என்ன பால் நிறுத்துனா that's the highest stress in my life.
நம்ம நிறைய தடவை பேசியிருக்கோம்.
Because I always say, where do you get high bioavailable calcium? If you leave milk. I feel it's a gift of God that India uses milk in vegetarian diet. Because you go out of India, that was the rude shock. You go out of India and you say vegetarian, they'll remove all your dairy from your food. I didn't know this till, I traveled abroad. And then what happens? Right? So, I am so used to milk. And tell me not to drink milk or have curd or whatever, milk-related stuff. First, milk. I will get into tension. So, if it's somebody like that, we need to work with them. And if they really have an allergy, first dilute it. Bring it down.
Correct.
Then we can make it. Because see, having a cup of milk or coffee or tea with milk, it keeps you full for a long time. If you change that and say, have almond milk, have coconut milk, or have whatever, peanut milk, it doesn't fill you up. Right? So that itself is a problem. Because so many people after their coffee, tea, eat breakfast 2 to 3 hours later. So you have to give them some other option. Otherwise, grind nuts and have, or whatever it is, right? Something warm they want to have.
Correct.
You give black tea or something, they're hungry the next half hour.
You're right.
So we need to deal at the person, as a human being in front of you. Not just have your nutrition principles and say, do this.
கஷ்டம்.
It's very, very difficult.
Okay. So what's your most favorite food?
milk.
Okay. Any dish that is something we think அது இல்லாம என்னால இருக்க முடியாது அப்படின்னு. Any dish?
I'm not very particular.
Your தயிர் சாதம், சாம்பார் சாதம் or வெத்த
It's
குழம்பு.
very funny. I'm a South Indian. In my community, you know.
ஆமா.
They eat only thair sadam. They drink coffee. I don't like both.
ஆஹா.
In fact, I have not had curd till I got married.
Really? I
My
can't
mother
believe this.
used to say, as a young child, if they serve curd in, like தயிர் பச்சடி போடுவாங்கல்ல, I'll cry and come to her. ஐயோ தயிர் போட்டாங்க. Because I hated the smell. I couldn't take it.
Okay.
And only after 24 years, it was okay, have from family, lot of pressure. So I had, and my Perima said, after you get married, if you have curd, no, I'll come and fight with you.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm not a curd, I hate curd rice.
Okay.
I can't have it.
Do you like savories or sweet? நொறுக்கு பிடிக்குமா இல்ல sweet பிடிக்குமா?
Savories.
Savories? Okay. Is there a favorite?
Arsi puri is my favorite.
அரிசி பூரி. Oh.
I just love it. From as a kid, always.
Okay.
Plain arsi puri. I don't need anything in it. If it's fresh, I can eat.
Okay. Interesting. What's your favorite fruit?
Fruit, everything I like. Oranges.
Citrus is what you seem to prefer. Okay. Travel பண்ணும்போது how do you manage? Being a vegetarian and being a dietitian, and when you go abroad and live there for like 6 months and close to even a year, how do you manage it? Of course, you do cook. And sir may cook பண்ணுவார் இல்லையா? That's something you should share. Familiesல இது already சின்ன வயசுலேருந்தே சொல்லி கொடுத்துருக்காங்களா?
Correct.
That's a very important skill.
We follow certain rules where women can't come into the kitchen. So he was in a family like that where there were 5 women. So from young, he was in the kitchen. Yeah. And my father-in-law also used to help. When at the age of 80, he will help. So they were very broad-minded in that way.
Excellent. And you and sir have traveled across the world. Johannesburg போயிருக்கீங்க, Greece and US and where not, இல்லையா? So Europe and all of that. So how do you manage while you travel? Because that will help a lot of other vegetarians.
Correct. US, there's no problem at all because I go to a home and you get everything from Varathandu to Varapu to everything. Only difference, I have to cut the vegetables, which I don't do here. But otherwise, everything's fine. I can cook my own food. Wherever you go, you get vegetarian food, you get vegan food. This was like when my brother went in 80s, maybe you didn't get.
Yeah, at that time
But
it was
today, I
difficult.
remember my grandfather went on a world trip in the 70s, and he was a severe diabetic. And he was a severe vegetarian, no eggs also. And he would say, there are times when I'll take rice, I'll put Coca-Cola and drink it. I said, Tata, Coca-Cola is sugar. He'll say, what to do? I'm hungry.
ஏதாவது சாப்பிடணுமே.
So those were the days, right? Now everywhere you get vegetarian food. Like even the other day, my daughter was saying in Bay Area, there's some Mylapore kitchen. Where you get anything and everything. So today US, everywhere you get. It's not a problem at all. You want to be vegan also, there's no problem at all. So because the world is moving toward plant-based foods too.
Vegetarianism has picked up so much.
So there's no issue. But yeah, the problem where you have is Japan.
How
So
did you manage?
we carried teplas with us. And the rude shock is the expense that is there.
Oh.
As we were walking, dietitian want fruit. So I told my husband, I want fruit. He walked in and he said, one banana is $100 at that time.
Oh.
I
Which
said,
year?
2018.
My goodness. Okay. 100 rupees for a banana.
So it was like, we can't afford it, neither can we buy it. So that was, fiber was an issue.
Okay. And I wanted to ask about Madhu's work with autistic kids.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Dr. Madhumita in Bangalore. She did her MD. Actually, her MD thesis was on autism, where she saw her guide helping autistic kid, and she did MD in pediatrics. So Ayurvedic pediatrics. Yeah, they have 16 categories of this thing because a lot of people may not know. Like allopathy, or even they have 16 varieties of Ayurveda MD that you can do. And she chose pediatrics because she loves children. And in that, she found that her guide, Dr. Shailaja, in Hassan, she's still there, she still does that work. They help autism and any child with movement issues, like even cerebral palsy. So they use a treatment both giving internal and externally. They tie the child with a lepum. Lepum is a mixture of herbs which they make according to the problem, and they tie it around them, and they stay with that for about 6 to 8 hours. And this is done for a week or 2 weeks. And if they come in early, there's a lot of benefits. Where kids who can't even get up and run by the 10th or 18th day, you know. So it's like, it's so beautiful. And if actually here integration happens, it's fantastic. In fact, I spoke to the MD or CEO of Ayurveda, where they are integrating with Ayurveda and allopathy. He was shocked when he saw those videos. It's just amazing how these kids are doing. In fact, one kid even climbed stairs on day 21 or something, who could not walk properly. So, of course, it depends on the child. If the disability is so bad, you can help them a little. But if the disability is mild, you can go wonders. You can go a long way in helping. And this is where, you know, if the integration happens, a lot of help can be given. This is in autism, cerebral palsy, any movement issues with kids she's doing. Of course, in fact, at that time, I was on which TV, I forget. And they were so nice. They put up that video on, and there were so many calls for the next, 20, 30 days. And I sent them all for help, because at that time she was still studying.
Okay.
So I sent them those who could go to Hassan. Now she's doing that work in Bangalore.
This is mind-blowing, ma'am.
So it's beautiful. In Hyderabad and Bangalore she's doing. Because Hyderabad she goes there once a month.
Okay.
And so there's a unit there. And in Bangalore also. So again, everything is Ayurveda. It's not that she learnt it and, it's something unique to her.
It's there already.
It is there in the text, but they have taken the step forward to help.
Excellent. Brilliant
It's
work.
really nice. And to see the children to get back their movement is, think of the parents.
Oh, what a joy, Leah.
Something fantastic.
I'm sure, I hope, this information helps someone out there.
Correct.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, I would like to ask, is there any one particular case which is so fresh in your mind and you saw a miracle happening? அந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது ஒன்று மறக்க முடியாத ஒரு கிளையண்ட்டோட ஸ்டோரி ஏதாவது இருந்தால் இட் பி கிரேட் இஃப் யூ கேன் ஷேர் இட் மேம்.
There are two. One, continuing with the Ayurveda, psoriasis, she's able to help very well. Again, she has 4-5 clients where...
This is Madhu's client.
Yeah. Day 1, day 2, day 12. The scars also are cleared. In the neck, in the face, in the hands. It's beautiful. So that skin is another area where Ayurveda can help in a very big way. Coming to my star client. You also have seen that case study and this thing. She's a 32-year-old girl who had 3 kids. And she went into a gynec consultancy and she was wheeled into bariatric unit. And she got the shock of her life because she was 128 or something at that time. And when she came to me, she said, I don't want meal replacements. I've tried them. I can't do it. I don't want, you to change me and say I lose 2 kilos a month. I don't want that. So what is the help you can give me? So I said intermittent fasting, but you should do it the right way. So she followed, and in 6 months, she was down 30 kgs.
Excellent.
And did beautifully because she put a trainer onto herself. She didn't lose muscle. Okay. It was body fat that she lost. She has all the parameters there. She was going into borderline diabetes. It came down. Cholesterol came down. TG came down. And till date, it's more than 4 years she's maintaining.
Excellent. I know this person. I'm so happy to hear her story. And awesome what you have done with her, ma'am. Excellent. Thanks for sharing this. So, ma'am, in the new year, 2025, is there any special message from your side?
Absolutely. Health is the focus. So, two is definitely do meditation or de-stressing, and exercise. That's the first 2. Zero trans fats, restrict junk foods. Try to make it 0 or at least close to 0, maybe 3-4 times a month. That's it. Then 2 servings of vegetable both at lunch and dinner or breakfast and lunch. 2 meals a day, 2 servings of vegetable, which is at least a cup is a serving. And 5 is use the 5 food groups every day. What are the 5 food groups? Grains, which we never forget to use, protein foods in 2 meals a day, vegetables in 2 meals a day, fruits, 1 serving at least a day, and dairy. For those who don't want dairy, make sure that you make your calcium in some other form. So 5 food groups. It's not Monday vegetable, Tuesday fruits, Wednesday protein, not like that. 5 food groups, 4 come in 2 meals. That's very, very important.
Wow, what a brilliant message for 2025. Thank you so much, ma'am, for spending so much time here in the studio today with us and sharing all the pearls of wisdom and sharing insights from your experience as a dietitian over more than 3 decades. Liam, 4 decades. Oh my God. Okay, and you're such an inspiration for all of us, ma'am. Any doubt, I know you're just one phone call away, and in the midst of anything, you would still pick it up and then give an answer at, lightning speed. That's you. And I know you're always there for all of us, guiding at every step. Thank you so much for being here, ma'am.
Thank you, Shiny, for the opportunity. It was amazing. I enjoyed the whole program.
Such a pleasure. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.